Welcome back to the Chill Zone podcast. I'm your host Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin', and of course I'm here with my co-host Roger.
Hey guys.
And we welcome back a great guest, Soterin.
Hello.
How you been, man?
Oh, I've been good, I've been doing good, staying warm. Weather's starting to turn up.
Yeah, that's good. Hopefully it's not like one of those like teasing springs and then back to winter time.
You mean fake spring, second winter.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
the way the seasons go now.
But so Taryn, what have you been playing, man? Any specific games?
So I've been playing Visage, which is an awesome game. I've been playing some COD Warzone, of course, and I've been playing an indie game called Grease, or GRIS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's not bad to check out those games that are smaller and usually undiscoverable sometimes, and then you just find them out of nowhere. And you're like, man, I like this game.
Well,
So,
that's exactly what happened with things like Valheim and Among Us. They start out as
Right.
small little indie games, and then all of a sudden everyone hype train hits and everyone has it.
right. But so Taryn, have you been working on yourself at all? Like anything mentally, physically?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep a lifting regime where I do like chest one day and then like arms the next day, and I just keep alternating that. That way, I'm not overdoing it, but I'm still getting that exercise at home.
No, makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I need to start doing that. Hopefully, once I move back to PA here soon, I can get back into a normal regimen. But what about you, Roger? How you been?
Pretty good. Been playing a lot of WoW. Started Warzone with you, and been
Yes,
really
sir.
enjoying that. It's actually very
we
addicting.
caught a dub the other night.
Yeah, dude. Well, I got on Warzone and I was like, all right, this feels like I'm actually it felt a lot more difficult to get shots off and stuff. And I went to Valorant right after playing a bunch of games of Warzone and went 33-11, and I was like, all right, this is awesome, man. So it just felt like a nice change of pace. So I've really enjoyed it. And Spooky Crew can shut his damn mouth.
Oh man, he's joining in already talking shit.
Yeah, talking smack
That's the
already.
Spooky Crew I know.
But no, other than that, been reading a bunch, trying to keep my mind occupied.
Yeah, no doubt. What
Go.
about bettering yourself at all?
Not really. I have been lackluster with my working out, but I want to actually start doing some walks like every day. Just go for a walk after work, walk out of the house, and just go around the block or
Right.
two, and slowly, progressively get longer and longer on it, and
Do you have
potentially
a
just
bike
do.
at all?
I don't yet. I wanted to get one for a while now, but I haven't had one since I was in high school, to be honest.
Right. Because we used to ride all the time.
Oh yeah,
back
dude,
in the day.
everywhere. It's so much
But
fun.
I bought a bike over the pandemic and rode it a lot when I was in PA. But since I moved down here, I probably rode it like twice,
Hmm.
and it's been pushing I don't know, like 8 months now, I guess. But once I'm back, man, maybe you get a bike, we can hit
Yeah.
up.
We can just
Go
go
for
for rides
some
and
rides or
stuff,
something.
especially in some of the nearby areas. You can just ride through some trails.
Right. And I have a bike rack too for my car, so I can throw two bikes on.
Oh, dope. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we can definitely do that. I wouldn't
But
mind come picking you up. We can do that sometime.
that'd be cool. So how you been?
Hanging in there. Going through some stuff here at home, but taking it day by day. Just trying to get through it and make sure I'm all good to go and planned ahead and
Hmm.
make sure I'm all set up for success.
No,
Honestly, got to
no.
make the best of any situation, even if it's a pretty bad one.
Yeah.
But gaming wise, man, I just diving a lot of hours into Immortals Phoenix Rising, dude. Ever since I had that one issue, that whole not saving corrupted file kind of issue I had, it's still continued to be a fantastic game. Like the story just keeps me wanting to play more. Like I feel like everything I do in the game, even as small as it is, has a purpose, has a meaning, and it's just a lot of fun. Like if once I do this game review, I wouldn't be surprised if this game honestly gets like a 9 or a 10. Like it's one of those underrated games. It's going to be a very high score.
No, that makes sense. It just seems pretty good from what I've seen of it.
Yeah,
I
it does
still
a
haven't.
really good
Yeah.
job of blending like Breath of the Wild and like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like it is a great perfect blend. Like it has like
Hmm.
some Assassin's Creed elements. Like you can stealth kill people. You can jump from high heights, and it almost looks like the Eagle Dive or whatever it was
Hmm.
called. I forget what it's called in Assassin's Creed, but there's some things that I think this game does better than Assassin's Creed. Like the synchronization points have a purpose.
Okay.
Like you getting to the high points to look across the map have a purpose. Like way more of a purpose than it does in Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed just feels like, oh, cool, it's just another thing to check off the list. It's
Well,
a
no,
fast
they
travel
used to
point.
fill in your map at least.
Right. Well, yeah, not anymore. It's just like to me they're pointless. They're
Uh,
really just fast travel points now in the game. Like if you have it unlocked, then it's a fast travel point. If you don't, guess what? You gotta run to it. But yeah, man. And then of course getting some Warzone with you, and obviously my other crews as well, catching dubs and whatnot.
mm.
With Tubi, what's up, Tubi?
To be shout out to Soteran Shitty Light, he says.
That's all right. I mean, it probably just looks shitty compared to our high quality, nice lighting.
I don't know about that. The shitty light up here is just glare inducing, but
Yeah, yeah, it's
it's
not too
not
bad.
terrible.
But better than myself, not really much.
Yeah,
Don't exercise, don't really do much right now. Just
yeah.
once I get settled again, I'll be back on my stuff.
Nah, I feel yeah. It's one of those things. It's the winter's the worst time to try and do anything. It's only really manageable. It feels for me when I can go to the gym, but it's already a
Right,
cesspool of disease. So why do I want to go there during a
right.
pandemic?
Yeah, ever since the pandemic, I like lost all motivation. I don't really do good at work, like working out at home. Like I need the
Hmm.
machines, I need the gym, but if I don't want to risk going to the gym right now,
Yeah,
so it's just like, eh.
I
So I'm
completely
like,
agree.
I cut off my membership a while back, so I didn't feel like paying that if I wasn't going to it.
Hmm.
So
Well, yeah,
I think once the stuff passes,
they cut off charging people for a few months there. So
mhm, right, yeah. And then they hit me for a month, and I was like, "Yep, I need to cancel this because I'm not going."
yeah, why would I go right now?
All right, but yeah, man, let's get into our gaming topics this week. We've got a solid list of
Yeah.
gaming news. We're going to start off with Hidden Path developer is creating a big budget open world Dungeons and Dragon game. It's in development. I know, Roger, you're huge into Dungeons and Dragons. What's your thoughts and expectations on this?
So I'm not sure if it's actually D&D or if it's D&D styled. I didn't see too far into the article. I just saw that they were making a game. So for me, that's the big thing. Dungeons and Dragons is like the core of like your RPG fantasy game. You know,
Right.
it's the basis for what WoW is. It's the basis for so many different games. You have these core concepts, and I really think if somebody could do it right, do it justice, I think an open world D&D game would be pretty freaking awesome, in my opinion. But I'm not sure what all has Hidden Path even made.
That's a good
What have
question.
they
I actually
developed?
never heard of it. It just popped up in
Um,
the news.
so yeah, they made they worked with Valve. They helped in making CS:GO. Their kind of like main title would be like a tower defense game called Defense Grid.
Oh, I played
And
Defense
they
Grid.
Okay, yeah,
did
yeah, I know what
the
you're talking about.
AFR2 remake.
Yeah, okay. Brass Tactics, Defense Grid, Witchblood, Age of Empires HD Edition, Counter Strike, Defense Grid. Yeah, they definitely helped out on a lot of games for
That'd
sure.
be that'd be pretty cool. They're it sounds like they're definitely like level design or something like that, and
Hmm.
I think their design is pretty cool. So I'd be excited to see an open world D&D game, but as
Right,
so many before, it could just be another D&D clone as we've seen many times before, and it just falls short. So
right.
I wouldn't get my hopes up, but I'd definitely be on the lookout for something like it.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Because like I feel like there's so much lore and just so much content that they can pull from to if it is
Yeah,
going with the
and
Dungeons and Dragons thing.
and the only thing that spooks me is what type of game is it? Is it top down? Is it a top down sort of isometric game, or is it actually a first person game?
Right.
I
My
could see
guess
that
is
best.
my guess it would have to probably be like a third person like action RPG open world
Hmm.
game. Like that would be my guess because like Dungeons and Dragons is all about creating your character. So like you want to be able to see your character. So that would determine first person versus third person. I think personally.
Yeah,
So you
well,
can actually see
like,
your
oh, that's the
customized
thing.
character.
That's the thing, and it doesn't have to be first person. It could be third person as well. That would be fine as well, where
Right,
you're in
that's
the
what I'm
back.
saying. I think it'll be more of a third person game at least,
But
but not like top
y-
down like a wasteland game or
or
something like that.
or the big ones like Baldur's Gate, for example, or
Hmm.
Diablo. It's not going to be like one of those, I hope, because if it is, then it's looking to compete with things like Diablo 4 for that top-down style of gameplay, same sort of system.
Well, I'm not too familiar with that game, but is it kind of like Minecraft Dungeons?
Yeah, Minecraft
That's like more
Dungeons
of
is
like
a
a top
perfect. Yeah,
down.
it's the same thing as Path of Exile, Diablo, Minecraft
Yeah,
Dungeons. It's
okay.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping we can
Which
stray
aren't
away from
bad.
that because Baldur's Gate, things like Baldur's Gate already exist. Why do these same things again? Because Baldur's Gate is D&D. You know, and if
Right. Yeah, if it comes out in first person, I think it'll be weird.
I
I don't
like
see
for
that.
me, if it's a game like Elder Scrolls, like if I get in a game like Elder Scrolls Morrowind, I'd be happy with that.
Hmm.
An MMO of that style where you're, behind your character there, first person or even third person. That would be awesome to me. I really don't want a top down one because we have so many games like it already.
Right, right.
And
I
I
agree.
think I think if you're looking for that D&D style game, you can just go to Baldur's Gate. It exists.
Exactly. Yeah, and
Baldur's
that one
Gate
just
is.
came out recently too, the newest
Well,
one
no,
at
the
least.
alpha did, not the full game.
Well, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So it's about the re-release. What about you, Soteran? You got any expectations on this?
Well, considering some of the stuff they've been working on, it looks like they have a good grasp of like stat-based games.
hmm
I think
Right.
it's something to keep an eye out for. I think the bouncing might be something that might be a plus for this game that'll come out.
okay,
I don't think there's too much news about it yet, but if they do tower defense games and they work closely with Valve.
Right.
Granted, I hear their studio is just right around the corner from Valve. But yeah, I didn't recognize it, but yeah, they did help make the original CS:GO when it originally launched. So I
Yeah.
have high hopes,
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, it seems like they have, like Roger was saying, with like level design and stuff like that under their belt. It seems like they've been around for a while, so I think this might be more of like an ambitious project for them
yeah,
to try and do something a little bit bigger. Because you figure those other games that they've been involved have been like rather small. I mean, even CS:GO it might be their biggest game that they're involved with, but even that compared to an open world game isn't that big
yeah.
to an open world game. So I think this is pretty cool to see if they're able to do it. If even if they bring in more talent, if they're working with Valve too. Valve's great with story, so that they could definitely work hand in hand with them.
Yeah, no,
I think
I
it could be a
definitely
good one.
agree. It's a game to be on the lookout for. But,
Yeah, yeah, for
in the
sure.
same vein of topic here, we have Diablo 2 Resurrected coming out. What do you guys think of that before I give my controversial opinion?
Well, personally, I've never played it, so I never played any Diablo game. I've heard about them, I've seen them, but this is pretty cool that they're remastering the second one, which is probably one of the arguably the best Diablo game. I think there
Yeah,
were some controversial stuff I heard in the mix of it, but they are coming out with two alphas, so it sounds like they're really trying to make sure that this game is what everybody's hoping it to be.
hmm How about you, Saturn?
Well, I think I think it's a good idea because I think it's like the same base engine. It's just they like did a visual overhaul over it, which is kind of nice.
Really?
Um, but yeah, like I think it's I don't think it would be a bad game. I think. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I was
Yeah.
reading chat.
All good.
No, it's good. It's good. Tubi's always here to help give his insights. But yeah, no, I agree with Tubi here. I think Blizzard has definitely become China's slave. They're definitely suckling off the teat of Chinese revenue. The big thing that gets me is like Activision is already beating Blizzard to death, and Activision's now like, okay, so we've released Warcraft 3 Remastered, and we fucked it up horribly. Let's do it with your next best game, Diablo 2. Let's fuck that
Yeah.
up too. I think, honestly, if Warcraft 3 Remastered is any indication of the quality this game is going to be, don't get rid of your copy of Diablo 2 because it's the only real copy. This new re-release of Diablo 2 is going to be pretty garbage, I think. Because if you look at Diablo 3, that game's also pretty garbage. No offense to anyone who likes it. It's just they took too long to become relevant. I think the Diablo series, hasn't really held up as well as of late. especially like their, the phone game, for example. They released that. I think Blizzard right now, especially with the announcement of like Warcraft Remastered for World of Warcraft Classic, Burning Crusade coming out.
Yeah.
I think what it is Activision is just smacking the Blizzard pinata, trying to hope something falls out. And
Right.
I think it's just a dead end development. If we want anything good, they need to be dumping all their work into Diablo 4 and a Warcraft 4. We just need an evolution of the series to continue the stories or be something better.
What's 2B talking about with the D2R Amazon face? I must have missed that part. Maybe you guys know about it. But
No.
I think it's great. We all like turn our heads and look at each other.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
great.
no, Diablo 2 Resurrected is what he was saying.
Yeah.
But no, I have not seen the Amazon face for it, but like what I think the big thing is Diablo 2 was a great game. Diablo and Diablo 2, and like they defined a genre that other games have done before. Like we had things like not I can't remember the name of the game, but it was on like PlayStation and stuff, and it was a 4-player game, and you guys did procedurally generated dungeons. Gauntlet. Yeah. So like Gauntlet, for example, we're looking at Diablo it's this roguelike. It defined roguelike games, and it had hardcore modes where you could lose a character. It built the genre, but then it didn't innovate. That's the problem. It didn't innovate like others did. Because now we have things like Path of Exile in the market, who is over innovating. I think what we need to see here is kind of a crossbreed between the two. But I definitely think we're going to see Diablo 2 Resurrected. I don't think it's going to be very good.
Right. Yeah. What I personally think too is that they're trying to ride the whole nostalgia wave because Diablo 2 had such an impact when it first came out, and I mean people probably still play it till today.
They speedrun it to this day in GDQs.
Yeah, like
it's in a bunch.
It's a cash thing. It's trying to get as much cash out of it as much as they can.
And they don't care how badly they deface this. It's like people who remake terrible movies and do even worse. It's a cash grab, is what it is. And I honestly think.
But I personally think that we need to start putting an end to this in the gaming community. Like, there has to be a way for consumers to push back. Which basically what we would have to do is not buy the game.
Yeah.
But people aren't going to do that.
No.
But basically, what needs to happen is like these developers honestly need to start being held accountable for like their products. Like they're like we're saying now, they're really just cash grabs and. What they need to do is give us good games, like good, like if you're going to remaster the game, remaster the game, not give me a carbon copy, if not worse than the original.
Well, that's the thing. They don't do what's required to, like, they're like, we want to redesign the game. No, we don't want the game redesigned. We just want the game with better graphics most of the time. Give us the game with better graphics. That'd be fine. It was completely 100% perfectly playable. We're not looking for you to redo the game.
Right.
But they're going to.
Maybe they'll do it correctly with this one. Hopefully.
Maybe. But I honestly, if I was anyone, I wouldn't buy this game. I wouldn't pre-order it. Honestly, there's very few games I pre-order, and this is one of the ones that I would say, even if I was a pre-order junkie, I wouldn't even go after this.
Before we are moving on, but I think like what I get from the remake is like I do like the sprites that they did for the original ones, but like now that it's in like 3D, it kind of just like looks a lot like all the other RPGs that are around, and it kind of loses its kind of like style a bit. But I think you're right. Based off of Warcraft 3, how that was a crap show, I could not support this remake. And like for the remake, it's like I don't know if they've announced that they're going to add anything to make it more maybe. For people that have played it 10 years ago and played it to death, if there's like new content that adds on to the game, that maybe just something more.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's such a risky thing. Do you add on to it, or do you give them the game they want remastered, rebuilt?
Right. I don't think you can really add on to it, given the fact that there was a sequel to it.
Yeah. And
it'd be hard to like unless there's like a huge gap in between 2 and 3, which I don't know the story obviously, but
they're not always the continuity. Like they're not contiguous. One doesn't follow 2 that doesn't follow 3. They're just a game, and then they have the same concept. Diablo, you fight Diablo, you fight the devil.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, self-contained titles.
so
Yeah.
it sounds like they could if they wanted to, but
Mhm.
I don't think it's worth the risk.
No, it honestly, what we want is Diablo 4. We don't want Diablo phone game. We don't want that. We don't want Warcraft 3 Reforged. We want Warcraft 4 and maybe base it in like there's so much great content they could be doing. Why invest in something like this when we could have something like Warcraft 4 built in the BFA storyline and you're literally doing all those combats in the different zones that happen around BFA that we hear about. There's so much content Blizzard has that we're going to ride this cash wave and hopefully it isn't just a small, wave pool.
Oh, that's Activision for you. They're all about the money. Look what they do with Call of Duty and have did with Call of Duty for a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, they know what they're doing business wise.
Yeah.
I mean, when they don't know what failure looks like.
Well, they do,
Honestly.
but they can cover it up
Blizzard
because
does.
yeah.
Their Blizzard part of it does, but
Oh, no.
most of their Activision stuff has always
Oh, it
all Call
sells.
of
It
Duty
sells great, even if the community hates it. It still sells.
hates the game.
Hmm.
Yeah. Black Ops Cold War is probably one of the worst games that they ever made, but it's the most sold game of all time.
Yep.
Is that in part due to Warzone?
Yeah.
Maybe. Even though Warzone's free, but some people still like to buy the game.
You get the shit in it.
or whatever.
Yeah. It's that I want to complete the set kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like me. I have like every Call of Duty back there on physical copy except for Cold War.
Mhm.
Fuck, actually, I don't even think I have Modern Warfare because Modern Warfare was the first game on that generation to buy a disc or digital copy of it because my friend needed me to buy it digitally so we can game share so I can help him out. Some people we all get in hard times. I understand,
Yeah.
so gotta look out for our friends when we can.
So
But, let's move on to our next one here. We got a rumor that's almost confirmed but not confirmed with the we covered on it a little bit before was the
Yeah.
Switch Pro or
It's-
just the 4K Switch.
it's at this point safe to assume that it's happening. There is a new Switch coming, and it's not Switch 2.0. It's not like a brand new console. It's just a console with better quality to it because it's going to
Right.
be there. Just like the DS had different iterations of it. This is just the
Right.
next iteration in it where they up the usability of it. They fix a lot of their issues. So
Like the Joy-Cons.
yeah, hopefully we see the Joy-Cons get fixed. We'll want to see the 4K. There's a lot that can get we can get increased on the Switch, which will be really nice.
Right, yeah, so by the looks of the rumors, it looks like it's supposed to get a bigger screen, supposed to support 4K. Hopefully it gets a bigger battery life, and which would be huge because, like, you think about it, if you're going to be playing at 4K, 4K is going to need a
Well, no, that's
more
the thing.
power.
From what they suggested, or from what I've heard, 4K will only be offered when it's docked,
Okay,
so that
Yeah,
it so
that
that it
would
has
make
that
sense.
power. Yeah,
so I wonder if undocked will it support then 1440p or is it
it'll
going to go down
probably
to
be
1080p?
yeah, it'll probably either be 1080p or 1440. But let's be honest, when you're working with something this small, 1080 is great. It looks awesome.
Right.
When you're on
Yeah,
the
I
TV, it
love
looks
playing
a little.
Mario Odyssey on my Switch. When I beat it,
Oh,
man,
it's
that
so
game
good.
still looked great.
Yeah.
I think I played most of that game handheld and not even on docked at all.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts, Soterin? Would you invest in getting a 4K Switch?
Just because I don't have a Switch currently, I think this gives a good incentive to buy a Switch coming up because honestly I've been watching their like releases and for their new games and they're carefully curated indie games are awesome. I can vouch for like most of them that are on there now. There's a lot of good ones going in that store, and I'd hate to miss out on that selection of games they have. Plus all the Zeldas and Mario's that you can play.
Yeah, that they keep remastering too
Yeah.
and
Well,
getting more money and cash grabbing.
yeah.
But it's nice.
That's the one that pissed me off. The whole community's pretty pissed off about the Skyward Sword the Skyward Sword remaster because
I
it's
don't-
literally more expensive, doesn't come with the free controller, and all they did was update the graphics.
Yeah, and they made it so you could use a controller instead of motion controls
Yes.
with the joysticks. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So it doesn't
But,
seem that in depth, but there's a lot
Right.
of stuff that I'm excited to see it. I would definitely get a 4K Switch. I
Hmm.
love the console, but I don't. I have a 4K TV upstairs, I believe, but it's definitely a worthwhile console.
Right, right. Yeah. Well, I get it. Maybe I have a Switch now,
Yeah.
and I really don't play it a lot. So it's just like I don't know if it's not like something I need or I'm like,
Mhm.
oh man, I can't wait for. But it's just like if I have extra cash sitting around there's more of an incentive. If it really looks good or really has a great selling point to it,
Mhm.
then yeah, I'll go for it. But I mean, but we also got to think about it too. Like when people are making the games for the Switch, like are they going to be making exclusive games for the 4K Switch? Or are they going to be having ports for all versions of them as well?
It
That's something.
shouldn't. It shouldn't. It just should be the graphics are probably going to be. They'll make the stuff for 4K, but just like PC, it scales downward or upward based
Right.
on your
Well, you would
system.
hope, but remember they've done that even with the DS, where like some games became exclusive to the
Well,
newer
the
DS.
new 3DS, there was a reason for that, and it was because the game had to be played on that processing power. So maybe the new Switch might have that, but I don't think we'll see that just yet.
Right. Let's wait and see. It'll be
Yeah,
pretty cool to see once they do announce
once
it.
they
And,
finally confirm it exactly.
right, right. But some other interesting news here. If you're a fan of the Uncharted or Last of Us series, Naughty Dog is teasing new future announcements. So Taryn, have you played any of those games at all?
Um, well, I've played a little bit. I've played like halfway of Last of Us One.
Mhm.
I like the idea. I like the game, and I really want to complete it still.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake of playing on grounded mode, which was like the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
It made me hate the game, and I just haven't gone back to it. But I will go back to it to do a casual run because I do want to experience the story.
Hmm.
Right,
Um,
right. Yeah. So, what are your expectations on like these unannounced projects that they're working on? Like, what are you expecting from this?
well, considering their past history, it looks like they created Jack and Daxter and did the Crash Bandicoot
Yeah.
series. I think I would love another like fresh new platformer. I
You,
think
you know what would
I
be
really
awesome? Jack and Daxter was an amazing game, and if they made a game similar to it, that sort of exploration game where that adventure exploration game with a lot of abilities and things you can do, that would be an amazing game, in my opinion.
Right.
It
No, it
would
was
bring.
one of those games that back in the day that would compete with Ratchet and Clank. It was always Ratchet and Clank versus Jack and Dexter. Like
Yeah,
those were the two games that went back and forth on the like PS2 days for sure,
yeah, they were
and maybe
definitely
even
quality games.
PS3. But
You know,
but
they
Jack and Dexter, man, we haven't had a game in a
yeah,
long time.
and they gave Spyro a run for its money too, with just these
Mhm.
quality adventure games we had, and then we moved away from that genre, and
Man,
it just feels like there's less and less of them.
right. Spyro is such a great game. I loved when they brought the Reignited edition or whatever it was called.
Hmm.
And they even brought it on the Xbox. Like I had to buy it. I was like, man, this brings back so many memories.
Yeah. So
All
no,
those days playing on the PS1.
I'm excited. I hope Naughty Dog chooses to do something similar to their adventure vein. I'm hoping they're not doing a new game in one of their series because like I played the Uncharted series and I think it's kind of played out at this point. We've done the series. It was cool and all, but I think at this point, it feels like the extended Star Wars universe.
Well, I understand that, but I feel like in the same breath, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like another game in the Uncharted series or another Last of Us in the works because
Yeah.
you figure there's a Uncharted movie about to come out, and they also have the Last of Us TV series that's about to come out. Like they're definitely not done with this IP. They're definitely
Oh
going to
yeah.
keep working, but
Oh,
it'll be
it's
interesting
it's
to see if
it's
they
a huge
create a
IP.
whole new. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with like a new IP because like the Uncharted series been out for long time since PS3, I think at least.
Hmm.
And Last of Us came out what mid PS4 years, I think. So, or mid no, it was actually on the PS3, my bad, because it was
Yeah,
remastered for the PS4 as
that's
well.
correct.
So those games have definitely been around. So I mean, I couldn't. I mean, there's probably tons of stories to tell. I mean, look at Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider is very identical to the Uncharted series, and it's been around
Hmm.
for at least 20 years, 25
Well, it was
years.
on the
So
N64 for one.
right, yeah. See,
That's what
it's been
started.
around forever.
But no, I definitely agree. There's a lot of easy choices there with their current IPs. I think continuing The Last of Us would be a mistake at this point. but continuing something like Uncharted, they can do it. I would prefer to see something more what they used to do. There were a bunch of cool games that they used to have.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm eager to see what they end up doing with this because I mean I was a fan of the Uncharted series. I beat the first three games. I have four, just never played it. I have Last of Us One, never played it, and I want to get to Last of Us Two. I mean, it's one of the greatest games of all time.
Mhm.
I mean, according to critics and stuff like that. So,
Mm.
be interesting to see what they what it will. Even if it's a different IP, it'd be pretty cool to see what their talents because they're a very
Well,
talented
they're
studio.
an amazing studio, yeah. So having a new IP would also be pretty cool. I'd be excited just to see them branch out.
Right, yeah, Uncharted Two was really good. I really like three too. I feel like playing them in order too as quickly as I did. It just you could easily see the improvements from year
Well,
to year, like
and
the
the thing for me
controls
is
and
I
graphics.
lost track which was one, two, and three at some point. You get through them and you're like going back to back with them when you play the remastered. It was I lost track of the story. It just felt like one long, nice movie to me.
Yeah, and honestly, that works because they all felt connected. They all had a purpose.
Yeah,
Like you said, it felt like one long story.
and
In
I
some games, when they have sequels, you feel like you're like, well, how the hell does this connect to this one
yeah,
and this one and
and
stuff
then
like
you
that?
have to look
Like
at
I
the
didn't know about the
backstory.
Diablo. I thought Diablo was connected, and
Yeah,
they're not even connected.
they're like
Like really.
self-contained. Yeah, but so moving on to the next topic, I think you guys are both good, right?
Yeah.
So have either of you played Control?
Hell yeah. One of my favorite games ever.
How about you, Saturn?
I wish I did. It's so
Same, like same.
expensive.
Well, I highly recommend getting the whatever special edition where it comes with the two DLC packs
Yeah.
because it connects it to the Alan Wake game.
Okay. Yeah, no, I honestly, it's one of the games that I thought about buying and playing, but I never just made time to do so because I have so much already. But now there's two games in development set in the same universe, so I guess they're trying to expand on their Alan Wake Control universe now.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be if I'm not mistaken. Like because they have that one. Then they also have Quantum Break,
Yeah.
which is owned by Microsoft. It was produced by them, but like it's all in the same. It looks like it's in the same universe. Leave it at that. And of course, Alan Wake was a good game, and they had another one. What was the other one that they had? There's like a fourth game too that's all set in like similar times,
Hmm.
so it looks pretty cool. And then it's interesting because they have quite a few different development teams. They have at least three or four teams that are working there because they have a team that's still supporting Control.
Yeah.
You have two teams that are working on these other projects, and they also have a team that's working on the Crossfire X campaign as well for console. So
Okay.
they have a lot going on, but it'd be pretty cool to see what these unannounced games are because Alan Wake, one of the greatest games on that generation. Control, one of that greatest games of that generation, and it's still doing well because it's on next gen with
Yeah.
the
And
upgrades.
it
So
was yeah, and one of the things that it's supposed to be rendered so nicely. So with one of the first ray tracing games, am I right? Is that on PC? It was one of the first
with
ray
Control,
tracing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I wouldn't be
exactly.
surprised. Yeah,
So like they were pushing technologies, and it wasn't just we're pushing technologies to push technologies. It was let's make a game that actually looks amazing by using this technology, not using it as a gimmick.
all I know is if so, neither of you guys have played it. Even if you just want to see a glimpse of the game, just look up the level called Astral Maze
Hmm.
and just watch somebody play through that one time, and I guarantee you'll be hooked. That game, that level is probably the best part of the game by far,
Uh huh.
hands down. And it
Uh,
just,
I did want to ask you a question.
yeah,
I'm sure you played it. As I heard, it's kind of someone had mentioned that it's similar to Inception. Would you say that's similar to Inception?
yeah. Well, that part of the mission, yes, very Inception.
Okay, I love
Very, the
Inception,
world
so
looks like it's
I need
ending.
to.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
if you
crazy how
played
that.
the Alan Wake, it makes sense too because like Alan Wake, it was like, you know,
Man,
it
that game was so good.
it was great. Like the whole
I just
cabin
recently
thing,
played it
trying
too.
to get.
I played that after Control
Mm,
for the first time, and I was like, and I was playing a 360 game on my Xbox One S, and I was like, yo, this game looks great. Like it's a backwards compatible game that looks great and it plays great. The story's amazing. I was like, this is crazy. I
yeah,
couldn't imagine what it looked like if it had a remastered
yeah.
version of it.
No, like it was beautiful as is, and I don't think it'll ever need one. It was such a good game, and I liked the story, and I definitely think I would give Control a try. But now having them state, a few months back that they're all in the shared universe now, and they're gonna try and build off of that. It seems pretty interesting. I'm excited to see what's coming out, but maybe it's a second Control, maybe it's another Alan Wake, because Alan Wake, they left the story open ended supposedly there.
Kind of. It just
Yeah,
depends on if you played the DLC to it or not.
yeah.
But they were just recently got the rights back to Alan Wake. They didn't have it. I forget who had the rights to that. But they just got them back.
So maybe they are making an Alan Wake. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, my guess is, especially with the tie-in with the DLC, with Control, I'm pretty sure that was like the beginning stages of connecting it somehow
Hmm.
and potentially making another one. But I mean, they could do anything. Really, like their games are always good. Like great controls, great graphics. Like the mechanics are great. Like it's just they're
Yeah,
they're one of the top developers in the world.
yeah. I
But
could agree that they're really good. Remedy is very good, but
mhm.
so on to the next topic here. Uh, Watch Dogs. So I know you beat it, Vic. I didn't beat
Yeah.
it. And then, so Taryn, have you played Watch Dogs Legion at all?
No, I actually haven't played Watch Dogs Legion, so
So I was super excited to try the multiplayer, but the beta was actually really short-lived. By the time I found out, it was only like a day-long beta or a 2-day long beta. So I was like, oh, it.
Missed out on that
By the
one.
time I saw it, I already had plans for that weekend, and the next weekend I was going to sign up. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it was only that weekend as soon as they sent it out. And now they're not even going to release it because it's riddled with bugs. It's so buggy that they're like, we can't do this.
Yeah, for the PC though,
Yeah.
it's the PC version of it is delayed indefinitely, but it's out officially to everybody. It's not in beta for console,
Hmm.
which I haven't checked it out yet, but it seems pretty cool because it has like co-op PvE missions, and then it has like the Spider Bot arena and some other modes in it too. But I heard the content's not there's not a lot of content there. It's not enough to keep you. Oh man, I can't wait to go home and play Watch Dogs Legion
It's a
multiplayer. Like,
gimmick.
yeah, it's just something that for the people for the hardcore fans that are gonna really enjoy that universe and want to keep playing it, yeah, it's there.
And it's
But
also possible that they just got so little love with the game that they just don't have the money to really invest in the multiplayer. So it feels like,
right,
it feels like I got into the ground floor of a Greenlight game on Steam and I got gypped.
yeah. I mean, overall that game wasn't bad.
It wasn't
I
good, but it
have to get
wasn't
the
bad.
review
It was
together.
it was playable.
Yeah, the story was alright. It got better as the game went forward.
Yeah.
It was just, but there was things that could have worked on and made it better. It struggled not having that main character. Like that, it was cool concept that you can be any person in the world.
Yeah.
It was something different, but I feel like you didn't feel as connected to him. Maybe if you play with the permadeath mode on, you're like, oh shit, I lost Josephine or
Yeah.
somebody who
Yeah, I
like
lost the
shit.
construction guy and I was like, "Son of a bitch."
But there's so many of those around, so you're just like, yeah, just go get another one.
Yeah, exactly. But they didn't have
I can
as cool
understand
of
if you lost like
abilities.
one because there was like limited ones where like a spy or something like there wasn't a lot of those out. So if you lost, you're just like, fuck, I wanted the spy.
Yeah. I lost my freaking rocket car.
I
But no, I
felt like there was
definitely.
no point to that, like having that rocket card because like there was no point. You weren't ever in vehicle combat. You
Yeah.
weren't
The
being
game
chased by anything that could shoot you really.
Yeah, the game was pretty mundane. In my opinion, there just wasn't enough content. They were like, "Look at our huge open world. We recreated London." And it's like, "But what can I do in it?" You can drive and the police don't care if you run people over. That you can shoot people and they won't care. They're
You could
supposed to be
steal their
this like
cars. It's
military
okay.
police. Like they're literally on Nazi lockdown in London and you could just go around shooting people and they're like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, and then I remember you telling me about they're like, yeah, everybody just knows you're part of DedSec, but this DedSec group is
Yeah.
supposed to be gone and non-existent, but everybody knows you're part
Oh,
of
you with
DedSec without
DedSec?
even.
How do you open a conversation with, "Oh, you with DedSec?" And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's definitely the AI had a lot to
No.
improve on.
So I definitely think it's par for the course, in my opinion, with Ubisoft. They overhype and underdeliver the Ubisoft way, in my opinion. It just feels that way half the time with their games I play anymore.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I talk about Immortals: Phoenix Rising, and
Yeah.
that was produced by
Yeah.
Ubisoft Anvil, if I'm not mistaken, and it was one of those games that was barely hyped, but it overperformed.
Well, and that's the
Like,
thing. Ubisoft has so many studios. It's just like there are some clearly horrible studios, and then there are some good ones. And the horrible ones are the ones I keep playing for some reason.
because they produce IPs that have been around for
Yeah.
ever, and you're just like, oh, cool, another Assassin's Creed, or oh, cool, another Tom Clancy game. You're just like, let me go play it. Like,
Yeah.
they got you hooked on that part.
Yeah, and
Which
I
at
literally
least
was
Tom
only
Clancy
playing it because you were like, "Hey, let's do a review," and I was like, "All right, whatever." And then I got
Yeah.
playing it, and I was like,
I'm
"I was
excited for it
right to
'cause
not."
I just recently beat 1 and 2. And
Yeah,
1 was okay, 2 got really good, and then Legion just went right back down. And I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell happened here?
No, it's
I
definitely
just think they tried to do something different, and it just didn't work out for that game.
yeah. So, but
I can't knock them for trying.
Yeah, I'd like to try that series because I do like open world games like that, where it's like, and I know that's like one of the Ubisoft. Like, does Ubisoft even do open world? That's like their only like open world game, isn't it?
no, they
All
only
of their
have
games are open world.
they're only open world.
Yeah,
They're
because you
all-
figure the Division 1 and 2, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, both of those recent games were open world. You have Assassin's Creed that's open world, Immortals Phoenix Rising's open world.
They
Like,
dropped
every
all their
game-
story-driven ones and went with the open world mechanic when they were like, "Look, it sells. Sandbox sells. Open world sells."
I did like
Yeah.
Wild West, actually. That was good. That was a good open world.
hmm
I didn't care too much for the Division, but I'm in Ubisoft land from like Rainbow Six 3 days.
Yeah, Rainbow Six, new Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2.
Yeah, Vegas 1, 2,
No,
Ravensfield.
I agree with Spooky Crew. Ubisoft's gimmick is let's just release the same game over and let's just take the open world and that is the game. We're just making an open world game and that is the priority. Once we get past that, then we'll sprinkle some story, some content. Maybe it's playable.
Maybe with the new Star Wars open world game, they do something with it. Maybe have a better story. They have a lot of content to work with. Like, it's not like they're pulling from nothing. Like, they have content. Make a fucking Star Wars open world game.
Honestly, I'd be hard pressed to think that they're gonna do good.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my.
You
my,
can be
hope
optimistic,
high.
yeah. Like,
I'm gonna be very much optimistic.
yeah, especially as a diehard fan, I assume you'd want to be.
Yeah, and I was a fan of Division game at first. Like, I've been through thick and thin with that game, where from like no content and struggle to having all the content and keeping a player base around. Like, it's one of the most played games still. Division 2 is, surprisingly. I mean, with the release of like Warlords of New York, like it took you back to New York because Division 2 was set in DC, but their expansion took you to New York, back to New York, I should say. So
Yeah.
like, you always have fun.
No,
Can't wait
but-
to destroy.
yeah, right.
Oh, that's great.
The fucking achievements in those games, though, too, are just like,
You know, man, I can't
here's
wait
the
to race around the
collectible.
city, open world in a pod racer.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely not prepared for any more Ubisoft games for a very long time.
Well, I'm telling you, that's why I sent you the link to get Immortals Phoenix Rising, because it's on sale
Yeah.
and it's a great game and it's one of those exceptional Ubisoft games, man. Like I
No, I'll
highly
definitely give it a
recommend
go. But it,
Especially, I mean, you really enjoyed Zelda Breath of the Wild.
yeah, well,
I'm
that's the
telling you, you're gonna
thing,
love this
though.
one.
Like, I'm hard pressed. Like, there's so much that goes into that alone, though. There's just so much that goes into Breath of the Wild that made it good. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
worried that it'll just feel like a Ubisoft game to me and not, an actual quality game.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. I'm not trying to overhype this game. Like,
No,
this
no.
game is legitimately good.
No, that's fair.
Cause like I was trying to overhype Watch Dogs Legion until like I really got through it. I'm just like, it's all right. I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt.
But yeah, it was just playable.
Yeah, it was good. It was like a 6 or a 7 maybe.
hmm
But let's go on to some more interesting news here. Got pretty much Xbox over the next 3 announcements here.
Yeah.
But Xbox consoles are getting an updated browser with Microsoft Edge that has it will be able to support Google Stadia and Amazon Luna, which is hilarious. So like if you didn't already have enough games on your console with Game Pass and all those other games, like if you have a Stadia account or a Luna account, you can play that on there too.
That'll be cool.
It's backed by Chronominium or something like that.
hmm
The browser will be. So that's why it can support.
Oh, Chromium, yes.
Yeah. So it'll be able to support Stadia and which my guess is they're really setting up to be able to play xCloud, I guess, on your console.
hmm
which is the same thing as playing Game Pass. But whatever to floats the boat.
Rebranding, something they've already had. Yeah, but no, it'll be
Right.
interesting to see the new.
xCloud is be able to play on an internet browser, like on any device,
Mhm.
basically. So I don't know. We'll see how that
Yeah.
goes.
I don't know. Shout out to Microsoft for helping out Google Stadia and Amazon.
Right. The ones that are
Let's
struggling and falling apart, they're like, "It's okay, buddy. We'll carry you
let
along. Come
prop
play
them
on our
up.
platform."
Yeah, no,
Right.
I think
Like my
Google's been
bad
in a
for
rough
buying
spot.
ZeniMax Studios, because
Yeah.
remember when we were talking about how ZeniMax Studios purchase like had a ripple effect that made them close down their
hmm
first party developers. So I was just like, this is their prop. They're just like, oh, my
Yeah.
bad, guys. Here you go.
And
Here's
who
your
knows?
platform.
Maybe they're just gonna take Stadia and be like, "All right, now we're the ones doing the game streaming service," and Stadia's just like, "Yeah, take it. You've already killed us. Take it."
Right. The only bad part with that is Microsoft is it, and Sony just looks like they're trying to monopolize, and of course Nintendo. Like it's just going to be those three, and that's it. Anybody that tries to enter the market, they get like killed
Well, and that's
instantly.
the
They're like,
thing.
oh,
That's
try
the
to help
thing.
them.
It's hard to enter the console market anymore because PCs have entered the stage as the pinnacle of gaming now. So, as computers become more and more prevalent every day, having a computer back in the 90s was a big deal. Having a computer in 2020 or 2021,
Everybody has at
it's
least a couple.
it's
Of them.
weird not to. If you don't
Yeah.
have the internet or a PC, are you living under a rock or in a cave with a fire? Like I'm
Right.
just saying, it's getting to the point where the internet and having a computer almost becomes a staple, like a necessity for people because you can't do anything
Hey
without an
now, I'm
email
a Mac
address.
user as long as a PC user. Spooky Crew.
Mac PCs, yeah. But it's one of those things. I honestly seeing the new Xbox browser, it's just they're just porting what they have on PC because they've already killed
Yeah.
the old Edge browser, and they're like, if you're using the old Edge browser, good luck.
Yeah.
You're in the
No, it makes
wilds.
sense. Yeah,
So
because the basically what they're trying to do is basically allow you to have a PC in the living room.
yeah,
Because the Xbox supports keyboard and mouse too. Like,
yeah,
you could easily use that if you wanted to. The controller works pretty good with the browser. Like, it's not bad.
yeah. It's trying to
Um,
be your all-in-one entertainment system,
that's why it
as
was
we
called
said with the
Xbox
Xbox.
One.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I definitely can see why that's useful to have it be
Hmm.
an all-in-one system.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But
Yeah,
sticking on the same lines of was that?
I think they're what Stadia and Luna are both cloud streaming services. I think there's I don't know if it's gotten any better, but I do recall like streaming games. There's a bit of input lag. I don't know if they've dealt with that issue yet. I know that's was like one of the bigger barriers for me when I tried cloud gaming before. But
Right.
I know
Yeah.
with Game Pass you can at least like store it on your physical like locally.
Right. Yeah. Game Pass is just like getting the game for free, or games with gold, or PlayStation Plus, or just free games in a month. Except you have like 100 of them to choose from. But yeah, cloud gaming it's in the infant stages, and it's slowly getting better. And I think it just come down to your
Well,
your connection too.
I think with the innovation of fiber coming out, like, so the big issue we have here is the cable companies. That's it. They oversold themselves and underperformed and broke their contracts they were supposed to do with the U.S. government. So we are we are we are second world when it comes to internet service. We're not third world. We have internet almost 100% of the time, but it's definitely not like some Asian countries. Like once we get to the point with fiber everywhere, people are going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think input lag will be very diminished. It's going to be a lot better, but until that point, we're going to definitely be in the mindset of you're going to need to have it near you.
Where does Tubi live?
Yeah, I think Tubi lives in the sub-Chinese region, Singapore.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Singapore. Yeah, it's crazy to like think as small of a country as that is, and they're basically all but fibered out.
Yeah.
But we can't even get a major city to get fiber.
Hmm. No, and it's mostly because of things like Google and Verizon. They're pretty much raping everyone else in the industry because they can.
Right, right. But yeah, sticking along along the lines here of Xbox, I just mentioned their name. ZeniMax is officially part of Microsoft.
Hmm.
Thank goodness, it's about time. And I'll kind of include something that just happened today. They just had like their roundtable meeting showcase, whatever, and they did announce 20 of Bethesda's games are coming to Game Pass tomorrow, the 12th. I think it is. Wait, but tomorrow's the 12th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 20 games are coming there, and they're top of the line games that have been coming out, like Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. Like all of their games are basically coming, and there's still more coming. And any new games that come out for them are coming to Game Pass right away. And there will be exclusive games that come out, obviously for PC
Yeah.
and Xbox. Anything that supports with the Xbox client or whatever
Hmm.
will have it. So that's going to be exciting to see. But what's your thoughts on it, Roger?
Um, I have no other thoughts than cool. I'm glad for the people who have Game Pass and may have never played some of these games. Like for myself, I would think about getting Game Pass just to play Wolfenstein because I've always been interested in trying it and I've always wanted to play
I
the
played the
series,
first one,
but
like
I've never
the
played it.
reboot, I guess, was great.
So, I think it's an awesome thing, but I definitely saw it coming. Let's be honest here. Microsoft
Yeah,
bought them and they're like, "Okay, now we can just give the titles away." We
yeah,
really want to plug that Game Pass, and I just think it's
yeah,
Microsoft's way of okay, let's invest in these games so that Game Pass becomes more of a sort of like that dangling a carrot in front of a horse's mouth kind of thing. It
right,
just
right.
gets
I mean,
people to finally take a
it's the
bite.
typical subscription service like Netflix and Disney Plus. Like they all have their originals and stuff like that. So Xbox is doing it with the gaming industry. Like they're having their streaming service, but then they need their originals, aka the
Hmm.
Microsoft Studios. So they're going to have them produce the content. So like, because you think about it, I think is what Netflix is having a new movie every week or something like that. This for the
Yeah,
whole entire year of 2021. Microsoft wants to get to that kind of point where they have a new game from their first party studios releasing at least once a month, if
yeah,
not every other
and
week.
then it forces people to really buy that Game Pass. That's the thing at the end of the tunnel. They want to get
Yeah,
that because the issue is in the gaming industry, a studio can die with a single bad game. But if you have
right.
a service you provide to somebody, you can
Hmm.
never die because then people are going to keep the service. If your game you release this month is shitty, you still have over 1,000 other games to play. It's like Netflix. Netflix releases 12 shitty movies a year, but you're still going to get Netflix because it's got everything else you want.
Right, right. And it was interesting. I was watching the roundtable thing that they had, and Todd Howard was speaking, and he was like, um, "Game Pass is going to help games that even deal with a situation like Fallout 76 had. When that game first came out, it was like
Yeah, it's
awful.
garbage.
It was dealing with bugs and everything else under the sun. And the game now has a very lively community. It's doing really well.
It's
But
less
being on
awful.
Game Pass now, it's going to lose. It's going to gain so much more life once it's on Game Pass. There's going to be a lot of people who didn't want to buy it, didn't buy it because of all the issues. And now, if they already have Game Pass, or you get Game Pass for $1 or whatever it is, and they hop in and they're like, "Man, this is fun. Let me team up," because like there's a huge community that love to help out new players as well, and they said that it should take off, but it'll help out all those games that are
Yeah.
maybe even smaller projects too that won't really come up on people's radars. But if they're scanning through Game Pass, they're like, "Oh, let me try this game out." Like Game Pass is the thing to use for game discovery. Like it's an awesome mechanic, and I'm glad it's here, and I'm glad I use it as well.
Hmm. No, I definitely, the more I sit here, the more I'm like, yeah, Game Pass is a great option. The biggest issue for me is just finding time to play all those games, but it's
Todd
such
Howard,
a
yes, sir.
great deal. It really is. And, shout out to Tubi. No, I have not seen the movie Samurai, Age of Samurai,
Right.
but I definitely would be interested in watching it. I didn't even know there was something that it was out there. But yeah,
Right.
no,
And
and Spooky Crew is right. Game Pass is a freaking miracle. It's it is it is the
and it's only
pinnacle
getting
of
better.
yeah. It is the Netflix of gaming now. That there
And
was
and the
nobody
fact that
doing that.
Microsoft's ready to open up the floodgates because basically since they bought all of these 23 studios, they've had like two releases. Like they have all of these games that are about to just come out and be like probably really great games, and like they're going to be all on the Game Pass. And like Meek here, he says Wolfenstein seems super dope.
Now
It
he can
sounds like
play
he's
it.
never played it. So and now he can play it for free without having to take that risk of buying it. If you already have
Exactly.
Game Pass for other stuff, like go try it. Like and you might be hooked. You're like, oh damn, now and you play the first one. You're like, man, I really
And
like
not
it.
only
Guess what?
that,
The other ones are on there
the
too.
follow up is they're sowing seeds for future releases. So now
Yeah,
they bought Bethesda. Now when they release a new game, they're going to build a community because these people who could never play their games now can play their games.
right. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see too. Is like some of the other games, like the Elder Scrolls 6 or the next Fallout or whatever. Will that be only exclusive to the Xbox consoles, or will they come out in other consoles? I think that's like the biggest question that we're all waiting to see
Yeah,
how it plays out because all Microsoft keeps telling us is it's a case by case scenario. And like we get it because there's two games that are coming out this year that are going to be PS4 or PlayStation exclusives because that plan was already intact before the buyout.
yeah,
So they're respecting that. They're like, all right, cool, but we don't know
yeah,
if they're going to make new games coming out exclusive to the Xbox because it can get to the point where yeah, you can put it on all these other platforms and get all this money from immediate feedback, like cash coming in. But if you make them exclusive, you're bringing people over. You're like, if someone really wants to play that game, that means they have to invest in either a PlayStation, or a PC, an Xbox,
yep.
or XCloud on your phone.
Yeah, we're
Like
going to
you're
return
gonna
to
have
the
to
days
invest
of
in something.
exclusives again. That's what it is. You know, we for a while there had left the woods, and we finally were in the realm of if it came out, you could guarantee it was almost on your system of choice. But now we're re-entering the world of I bought this. This is my IP. I'm going to release it only on my console. So we're re-entering those woods. Luckily for
Yeah.
PC players, Microsoft didn't abandon their OS.
Right, right. And it's crazy because if you combine Xbox and PC, they have the obviously the greatest player base,
Yeah.
obviously. But um, it'll definitely be interesting to see how they go about this and take it step by step. And
No, I agree.
definitely for all those who have not been able to check out a lot of these games, if it's on Game Pass. And Game Pass you can get on PC, your phone. If you have Android, it's already on there. It's not on iPhone just yet. And it also works on Xbox, of course. And I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great games. Bethesda is also another one of those developers that been around for a long time since I think the 80s.
They've had
And
hits, they've had misses, but they've always made, they've had great games.
right,
And they have never
or
fallen.
if they have bad games, they've made them better.
Well,
Fallout
and
76 is a
I
great
don't know.
example.
I don't know. Skyrim still exists and nothing's gotten better with that. It just keeps
Yeah,
re-releasing.
but people play that endlessly.
Oh,
Millions of
it's
people.
crazy how many people buy Skyrim, and it's walking simulator the game.
I think having the open software, I guess, for the mods kind of helped as
The
well.
PC community, yeah, you can't play the game without mods. Thomas the Tank Engine as dragons, or all these different things. Like look at the innovation of Gary's mod on the industry. People have Gary's mod games like Attack on Terrorist Town, and people run around with Thomas the Tank Engine guns, where you shoot a Thomas the Tank
Fast
Engine
travel
across the map.
simulator. That's fucking great.
Yeah, fast travel simulator is correct. Yeah, once you find a point, then you never walk again. And then it's also how many entrances can I find to the Dwarven City in one location? And then you always come back to where you entered every time. You're like, how did I get here again?
Right. But speaking the same lines are on Xbox. Apparently, they have unannounced games that are coming out
Hmm.
in 2021. I'm very interested to see what they could possibly be because I mean they have all these studios. Like, are some of these games Bethesda games? Are they part of the other 17 developers? That's what I'm interested to see.
No.
What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah.
I have no
Uh,
idea.
I'm just
Go ahead,
thinking
Trey.
these. I'm just thinking if the like I think it's good for Xbox because there's a lot for for ZeniMax they have like Wolfenstein and Doom. I think that's the kind of like demographic they like kind of appeal to is like shooters and Western RPGs. And I think they hit the nail on the head with by getting Bethesda. I think it's a good step and they can really market it easy.
Right.
What I'm interested in is the exclusivity.
Yeah.
I like that competition that's gonna make with Sony and Microsoft. So maybe we might see like a push in quality in games because of this competition.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, I agree because Sony's had all these high quality exclusive games for I don't know, at least the past 8 years, so whatever, however long
Yeah.
it's been, and Microsoft is really just playing catch up.
Yeah, it really
And
has been.
and now I think with all the once these 23 studios are able to start releasing these games that have been in development for like I don't know 4+ years, 4 or 5 years at least.
Sony's gonna have to do something. Is exactly what Spooky Crew says. Sony needs a swift kick in the ass because they're falling behind. I feel like there is no
And they're riding
reason to
on that high
buy.
horse.
There is
They're riding on
nothing.
the high horse. That's all it
Exactly.
is.
There is no reason to buy a PS5. There's literally no reason.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, is there a reason to buy Xbox Series X and S now? Not
Well,
really.
no,
Yeah, the
but
medium
there is a
and
reason to be in the Xbox zone to buy their services or whatever you may.
right.
And
Yeah,
there
I
is
just
a
love
reason to
this
buy the Xbox. You don't have money for a PC and you still want a quality gaming experience. For $500, you have something comparable to a PC without all the stuff you
Right.
can do on PC.
And all the people like Digital Foundry and stuff who do the spec comparisons between like games and stuff, and Xbox has been
Yeah.
outdoing PlayStation pretty much in most games. It wasn't like that like the first month. I guess there was something in the software that was holding the Xbox back immediately. So they updated that and haven't had any issues since. So it's been hitting the targeted at least 60 frames per second. 4K has been fine. Like it's been doing. It's outperforming the PlayStation 5, and
Yeah.
you get your money's worth. You figure Xbox Series X and PS5, $500. You get even more space on the Xbox than the PlayStation, which is hilarious. And then you also get Game Pass. What does PlayStation have to offer?
Nothing. That's the thing.
You get the PS Plus games. You get four games a month. Okay.
Yeah.
Xbox has that
I-
already too. They have games with gold.
It's definitely an issue. Like I would have liked to maybe get a PS5, but like I look at it and there's just no reason to at this point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what God Channel said here about Demon Souls. Demon Souls is one of the only games on PlayStation 5 that's an exclusive to that
Exactly.
console. But it's a remaster of a game that's been out for a long time.
And
too.
not only that, it was a game that
before-
flopped.
Yeah,
It flopped.
but now they're trying to
hard.
bring it back because Dark Souls made that genre good.
The success of
Success.
Bloodborne and Dark Souls was huge. But I definitely think with Xbox having a bunch of these unannounced titles, they're going to be exclusives, and we're going to see PlayStation go, well, what do we do? Sony's
what
going to
are we
be
gonna do?
so lost. Like, all they
Right.
have is Naughty Dog, and, like, even then, for their freaking Square Enix is like, what do we want to do today? Both
Yeah.
PlayStation. Let's add PC into the mix, too.
Yeah,
Like-
they don't know what they're doing. Like obviously they have Insomniac Games producing their games like Spider-Man and stuff. Apparently they have another game in the project in the works, unannounced game. Naughty Dogs, they have Guerrilla Games with the Horizon series now. Like that game was great, one of the best
Yeah.
games on PlayStation.
But, like-
you have God of War. Like they have these super quality games, but then
Yeah.
if you only have 4 of them and Xbox is coming out with 23 of them, like you might want to rethink.
Yeah,
your,
and not only
But
that,
one of the other games we
there's
talked about,
huge
MLB The
titles.
Show. MLB The Show was an exclusive on PlayStation.
yeah.
It's on Xbox now, coming up this spring.
Mhm.
So like they're losing their exclusivity, and Xbox is gaining more. It's incredible.
Yeah, so I definitely
Yeah,
think we'll see a
Nintendo is
market
definitely
change.
swinging in Xbox favor.
And I think the big thing is it's going to allow Microsoft to move their console into the Asian community because in Asia a lot of them have PlayStation. You know, Microsoft
Right.
is a totally smaller share. They just
Yeah.
don't have the same.
But
market.
Phil Spencer right now has a huge dedication to try and get more of the Japanese and the other Asian market, and they took a huge step with the Yakuza series. Like literally every game from the Yakuza franchise is on Game Pass.
Yeah, Dom was playing it. Dominic
Oh.
was playing a ton of them, and he's like, "They're so good," and I'm like, "I know, right? They're such a funny,
And
fun
some of
game."
those games are super old and like outdated, but they hold up really well.
Well,
And then, like, the
I don't know if
newest
they
one,
hold up well. They're
It sounds like it. Every person I've heard that played went back and
the
played like
combat
Zero and-
sucks half the time, but the you play it for the mini games. You know, you play it
Yeah.
for Dame Dame, the song. You know,
and then look at the newest one, Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon was an exclusive with Microsoft for a whole I believe a whole year or like a couple months. I forget what the time frame was with that, but they're trying, and I mean and especially apparently they want to buy another studio. Like I'm pretty sure, like we talked about it before, they can go after Capcom. They can go after like all these other big
And that's the thing.
Asian developers.
These Sega and people like them, if they go for them, that's like a kill shot for Sony.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
Capcom would be perfect because they've already had that partnership. Because you think about it, Capcom used to make the Dead Rising games. Dead Rising was an Xbox exclusive game,
yeah,
and that was one of the biggest zombie games of like at least two or three generations.
it was also cool because it was a co-op game. You know,
Yeah, well, at a certain point, I believe it. Yeah, and then it was like such an open world, and see that many like um assets on a screen at one time, like all those zombies, and then like being able to be super customizable and stuff. So like, man, Xbox has a lot going for them right now.
definitely.
But going back to the topic here, like unannounced games, Dead Rising could be another one.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a Dead Rising game in a while.
And I would love a Dead Rising game, to be honest, but, you know, I think we should probably move on a little bit here, because we're running along fanboying about how well Microsoft is doing this year. But to continue on the
Loving
hype
it.
train, they're re-releasing the Tomb Raider series, right? The definitive
Well, it was
Survivor
leaked by
trilogy.
Microsoft, but yeah, my
Yeah.
guess it'll probably be on all consoles. But the Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor trilogy, if that's the name, whoever decided that's awful. But that'd
Yeah.
be pretty cool because I dove into the reboot franchise that was I guess exclusive on Microsoft, and now it's on other consoles. But it was pretty fun. Like it really felt like an Uncharted game, more or less. Like it was at its roots of the whole Tomb like
Yeah.
really game. Like,
And not only
the
that,
name
it
of
was
the
an open
original-
world game too. Whereas, you know, these Tomb Raider games were definitely a lot more open world than, you know,
Yeah.
than your
But it was like more of like
Uncharted.
structured open world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It wasn't like, oh, you can go anywhere on the map, but like it gave you like an open level and you can approach the mission
Well,
and
yeah,
discover
it
things.
depends on which one you're playing, because there were a few of them where it's like you can go anywhere. There are 3 different paths you can go right now. You've got 3 different missions. They'll all lead you back here, but you can go to this one, or this one, and then come back.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd be pretty cool and to like update the graphics and stuff. Like the game already looked pretty decent during that time, but
Hmm.
to get it up to speed with 4K 60 frames a second, why not? It's a
Yeah.
game that's around, and I mean, heck, if it turns out to be an exclusive to Microsoft
And
again somehow.
yeah, and it's I definitely think it'll be fun, especially with the increased frames, because I just got like dizzy playing it because it's just the frame choppiness. It's just not smooth, so it's like frames in your face. They're just big
Right, and
changes on
some
the screen.
scenes, yeah, some scenes are going to dedicate like, or you require more because like you're trying to escape something, or it's like a fast-paced scene or something like that. You're going to need those as opposed to like, oh, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what the hell do I do with this puzzle,
Mhm.
trying to solve it. Obviously, you don't need a lot of frames in that scene, but I can definitely understand where you're fast-paced action scenes. Yeah, you're going to need it.
So I'm excited to see it, but I already own the Tomb Raider game, so I probably personally wouldn't get it. It's just
Right, right. What about you, Saturn? Have you played any of the recent Tomb Raider games?
The last one I played was Temple of Osiris. I think that was just like a spin-off Tomb Raider game.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I don't think that was one of the newer ones.
Yeah, it's I did it with co-op, but as far as the reboot series, I haven't played much of it, but I do remember the marketing for it, and there was a crap ton of cool like Resident Evil type death scenes for the
Yeah.
Lara. The thing is, I know I played a little bit of it, and I didn't see the platforming aspect because I know Tomb Raider used to have like those crazy jump puzzles. Is
Yeah.
that still a thing?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
yeah.
jumping and the climbing and the
Yeah, there's
moving
still
stuff
really
around,
that's awesome.
using your bow.
No, it definitely it was a good series, and I think it didn't get as much hype as it could have. I think it was kind of underrepresented because Uncharted was so big.
It would
No,
definitely kind of compete
It'll
with
be
that,
it'll
even though-
definitely be interesting to see it though.
yeah, even though Tomb Raider has been around way longer than
Well, yeah.
Uncharted. It's just
Yeah.
crazy that Uncharted they did really well with that game.
Like, I know I read somewhere recently that like when they like repackage a game and they like relist it, it actually helps the game like gain a lot of money. Like it's like
Mhm.
sells more.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I guess it sort of goes in with the remaster kind of talk where like they're repackaging it.
Right.
But it's like I feel like it's really trending that there's a lot of remakes happening, and I think it's because of this,
Hype train.
that money incentive that you get from doing it.
Yeah, it's another just cash grab, honestly. But in this sense, like I feel like this kind of game though is going to hit like a market that it's not oversaturated right now because there hasn't been an Uncharted game in a while. There hasn't been a Tomb Raider game in a while. Like there hasn't been like that Tomb Raiding game in a while. And then like it even hits the market to people like you've never even checked out really the newer ones. So this might be a good incentive too. And imagine if this trilogy ends up on Game Pass. I mean, I'm just circling back to the Game Pass thing, but
yeah, it's going to be
crazy.
huge for it. And it could lead to
That would be
another
Microsoft
Tomb Raider game.
Uncharted game.
Yeah, and it could be the rebirth, exactly, a rebirth of a new Microsoft style Uncharted. So
Right.
I'm
I mean,
definitely
another game
interested
we're
to see it, but I
looking
wouldn't
to
play it.
Right. Another game that was interesting to see is the Indiana Jones game, whether that's going to be an exclusive or not, because that's being made by Bethesda. But that's a wait and see time.
I love reboot culture. Ugh. All right. So world news.
Yeah, we're on to the world news. I was going to say a short week of gaming, but I felt like that was a lot.
Yeah, it's just we had a lot to talk about. Not a lot to talk about. We just sort of fanboyed on stuff.
It's worth it.
Exactly.
Makes the conversation better.
But so I didn't really see this in the news at all, but it surprised me that you guys. So have you seen it in the news other than us, talking before the podcast that there was 17,000 earthquakes that hit Iceland?
Yeah. Well, interesting enough, I follow this account on Twitter called BNO News, and they report everything that happens in the world and the stuff that doesn't even make headlines that should be making headlines. Because 17,000 earthquakes, that's a lot of fucking earthquakes. Yeah. And basically the scientists are pointing to like it could be a volcanic eruption, like a major one that's about to happen in that area. And that could be detrimental to that area. Like that could disrupt life up there.
Because that's the thing. Iceland is inhabited. Greenland isn't. Remember that. Right. Iceland's green and Greenland's ice. So this is a country that people live in. And it's not. So no, it's definitely scary. Especially, they have a lot of natural geysers and a lot of natural hot springs in
right. Yeah, because like the Blue Lagoon, which is it's on my bucket list to visit sometime.
There's a lot of stuff there, and I'm scared to see if they actually have, because if this is a precursor for an explosion, that's gonna be scary.
Yeah. I mean, it could honestly set the precedent of like what could happen in California because that super volcano that's way overdue for an eruption, and the earthquakes as well. Like this could be a sign, like maybe a major, like a much more smaller of significance, but
the precursor to a bigger disaster.
Yeah, and I think we just got to be prepared for what could happen. And I don't think our world is ready for any huge major natural disaster other than the pandemic. I mean, hell, you see what we handled with here.
Yeah, right. It's fucking Tubi over here. Tubi, did you watch the interview or something? Is that what's going on here? Talking about the freaking royal family. I could not put myself to watch that, but like just hearing the headlines post that.
Yeah, they're just talking about because the baby looks.
The fact that they were like, oh, well, is the baby going to be brown? Yes! Yes! It's going to happen. Like, that's how genetics work. I'm sorry. like,
who cares?
And they are trying so hard to cover their asses. I know we're derailing the whole topic here, but, like, yeah, the royal family this week is on DR control, and they're like, they're always invited back. They're always welcome to come home. And I'm like, I don't know, child rapist city and, racism central. I think they're better off.
Right. But something that you actually sent me earlier this week was Google will stop selling the targeted ads based on their browsing history.
Yeah, so that was huge.
It sounds huge.
Yeah. Did you look at it, see this at all, Soteran?
I took a look a little bit at it, and it seems like they're gonna remove the third-party cookies from websites.
And and from their incognito browser. That's the key. If you thought your incognito browser didn't have cookies, you were wrong. They still tracked everything incognito. And a judge literally sat there in front of the Google reps and said, wait, you're telling me your incognito was still tracking me? And they were like, yes it is. And he goes, oh no.
Oh, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, right? He's like, what do you mean? It's supposed to be private browsing, completely untraceable. And they're like, nope. It's more than just your people watching your traffic and this and that. It is also us tracking your cookies.
Yeah, that's awful.
So
I'm super excited for this because like it's crazy. Like you'll be on like Amazon looking at something, and then next thing you know, you have all these ads
yeah,
on Facebook because of it.
yeah,
And it's just it gets to be annoying. You're like, I don't want to have to see what I was just looking at over here as well. You know what I mean?
that's over here. Yeah, that's what we use incognito for, anonymous donations. But
Yeah.
like, no,
We're just gonna leave it at that.
yeah, like we all know, yeah. So I think
Go
this
back
is.
to hub. To be.
But like I gotta be serious with you here. I think it sets a precedence for what the future could hold, because we've talked about the social dilemma here where everything you do online is tracked. You know, when is something going to be like, when are we going to be at a point where where everything's not being, when is your decision or somebody else's? Like I've dealt with, God Channel and me are good friends, and we talk about one time he got rabbit holed into some really fucked up shit, and it's like,
Right.
that was on YouTube. Now, YouTube's owned by Google, so if they're trying to track less. Yeah,
That's
so
great. What God Channel said.
yeah, it's supposed to be private between me and the NSA. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, the only people who should have been able to see your traffic were the people who had traffic packet sniffers and the NSA, because they have a backdoor to everything and get pissed when they don't. But like, I think this could be a step in the right direction.
Right.
When
It sounds
younger
like they're
people
on board with what Apple's trying to do and like
control
really
your data.
advertise about the security. Like it's your security. Like they advertise so much about your security, how important that is. And like this is huge because like if anything's tracked and stuff like that, like people can, like what we talked about with the social engineering, like they can start tracking and see what you buy, how you buy, and what you do and what you look at, and then turn around and use it on you. It may sound like great advertising, marketing schemes and stuff like that, but that does, like, if I don't give it permission, then it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Like I think it should come down to that. Like you should have to give permission for that to happen.
Yeah, you should have to give
it's
consent
kinda there,
in the
but
first.
like it has to be a little bit more serious.
No, I agree, and I think the big issue we also have to deal with is the United States doesn't care about your data as much as the EU, for example, and like you have the right to completely purge your data from anywhere in the EU, but like in America, they don't have to comply with purging of data. Like if you live in America, you can tell them to delete your account, but they don't have to delete shit. They just have to remove the account. Like
Right.
it's one of those crazy things where we're dealing with a world where your data isn't your own. Like I don't care if I'm being tracked for the most part. The issue I worry about is, are my opinions mine, or are they carefully crafted by something bigger and scarier than me? Because an AI
Right.
can work 100 times faster, as we've talked about before, than anyone else.
Right.
So
Right. Big Brother's watching.
and it's not even Big Brother. It's Big Brother's buddy with the giant sack of cash.
Right. No, yeah, that's a good point. Another thing too, I guess these next two topics are kind of related, even in sense of with the browsing history and stuff, is like coming down to security and like, is your own opinion, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not agreeing with what these people did,
Yeah.
but like there was a Christian streamer that I guess is suing Twitch because he was banned for, I guess, saying something along
Yeah.
the lines of being
He was anti-Muslim and said about how
Yeah.
all Muslims, it was like some essentially borderline like death threat Muslim stuff on Twitch, and somebody reported him, and now he's suing Twitch because he's like, you can't remove me. This is religious prosecution. I'm like, I don't know, you violated terms of service, so you already lost the battle there. If you don't follow it, Republicans like to tote on this whole free enterprise, free business, but as soon as one of these religious freaking fanatics or something,
Exactly.
yeah, is not, yeah, exactly. Anti-Muslim isn't pro-Christian. It's just a fucking asshole. And that's what it is, really. And so this guy is suing now because he didn't follow the rules, and he's pissed that
Yeah,
somebody's.
and
And now,
what me and you talked the other day about it was
yeah,
that he's really opening up a can,
yeah,
like to get himself get like countersued
yeah.
because like, that person who he made those remarks to or about could turn around and sue him for the same thing that he's thinking
But
that he's suing for.
yeah, it's he's opening himself up for a lot of issues here, and it's like, dude, you're in the wrong. You broke the rules. We're like, if you're gonna be like, we're not hating on Christianity here. We're hating on
Right.
people who hate on other religions. I'm not the
Right.
hateful one. I'm the one hateful towards you because of your remarks towards a religion.
Right,
It's
right. We're supposed to live in a country where it's like free religion and
yeah,
everybody should be able to believe whatever they want to
you
believe.
know,
So you
our
can't impose your belief on somebody
our
else.
laws are built on the judicial system that Jewish society came from thousands of years ago.
Mhm.
This the system of you and your peers, a jury of your peers. That's something that's based on Jewish society. And then our people are Christian who made the nation, and then we're supposed to be religiously free because it doesn't matter if you're Catholic, you're Methodist, or Lutheran, whatever you are, you're supposed to be free. But somehow it's only if you're a denomination of Christian, and even then only certain Christians.
Right, right.
So
What's your thoughts on this, Soteran? Do you have any input on this?
Um, just like looking at his a little bit of his stream, it looks like he kind of has a priest persona or like a pastor like persona. I don't think, and he's playing Fortnite, which is kind of weird.
I'm glad we banned another Fortnite idiot. So like,
So it's like,
I'm not sweaty on
I don't
that.
know. Unless you're like an approved pastor or something, I don't think you have the right to, if he was like preaching religion or something like that. I don't think that'd be kind of right on Twitch.
like
But regardless, it sounds like he did some like insults to like
yeah,
uh, to
Yeah.
some sort of community, and he violated terms of service. Like that's a nail in the coffin. You're not going anywhere in court with that.
Twitch isn't his
Right.
chapel. So get the fuck off the lectern and
That's
play the
that's a good way to
fucking
put it.
game. If
See,
like
the other part here was Myers Leonard. He's an NBA player. He plays for the Miami Heat, and he was just banned, and he actually lost sponsorships from like Scuff and a couple other brands over an anti-Semitic slur. What he said, and the thing is, like, this is a completely different case. He wasn't attacking anybody individually. He just said something over stream. It's like, remember back in the day, like playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and you'd be like, "Oh, fuck your mom and sister and suck a dick" and stuff like that. He was in the midst of saying stuff like that, but it was like towards anti-Jew,
yeah,
basically. But he wasn't implying that. But like, I guess you just gotta watch what you say in
Yeah.
a way. But it's just like
Well-
super. Like,
well-
people get super sensitive over things.
Like,
And because he's such a high-profile person. If it was me or you said it, it'd probably go under the radar and wouldn't even have been caught.
yeah, like my wife is Jewish, as we've already covered before,
Right.
and you guys know there's a lot of anti-Semitism in this country, and it just goes so undetected sometimes. It's like, my wife is fearful. When the last president took over, she was feared that they were going to come after her because that's what they do. They hate anyone who's different, and they were the next closest thing to a Nazi regime coming for people. You're like,
Right.
and I think we've got an issue here where, like, think about it. Have you ever said somebody gypped you out of something? That's a slur towards a group of people. That's a slur towards gypsies, or saying you Jewed me out of something. Those are things that people just slip in there, and it's just it's such an issue here because people don't know where it's coming from, and a lot of times it's yeah, sorry, I do apologize. A gypsy is also a slur. The Romani people. So the issue here is we're dealing with people who just are unwilling. They don't realize what they're saying. But
Right.
when does that border? When do you jump across and hate a person versus just saying slurs towards them?
Right. Just being ignorant to the fact of like not knowing like what you're saying or how you're saying
Yeah.
it or the impact that you're really having and stuff like that. But to talk about Myers Leonard, like because like I said, he plays for an NBA Miami. He was fined like $50,000 and
Hmm.
suspended for like a week or something like that. Like, and of course he's been banned from Twitch, and then he lost all his sponsorships for gaming and stuff. So it's just like my man definitely deserved. Like he got a punishment. Like, do you think the punishment was too much
Yeah.
or
I think
or
the
how did,
punishment
like,
was justified. He
yeah, but to
it,
put it in perspective, like, would me, the average person, or you get the same kind of punishment
no, but
as
that's the
him?
thing. He's representing people. Who are you and me
Yeah, no,
representing?
I'm not saying what was
Yeah,
right or wrong.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
trying to
yeah.
see what both sides of it
No,
is.
yeah, and my thought is here he is a figurehead of multiple sponsorships and the Miami Heat. If you're a player on the team, you are the team. You represent what that means.
Yeah, and obviously the team doesn't want somebody on their team or
Exactly.
organization that's going to say stuff like this.
Hell, his boss is probably somebody in charge is definitely Jewish, and that probably was offensive to them.
Right.
We're in a capitalist society, you say shit, you get in trouble. If it offends somebody who pays your bills, guess what? You don't get paid. So I
Right.
think definitely he got his just dessert. I don't think that he needs to be banned permanently, but a suspension from Twitch is fine in my opinion. People get banned from Twitch all the time for a week, few days, whatever the case may be.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, hopefully he just learns his lesson and then he can go back to streaming and enjoying the game and just not do that stuff again. Obviously, if you do a second offense, then that got to lead to something a little bit more serious. But
Yeah, exactly.
hopefully that was enough. Because I mean, he's already came out and apologized,
Yeah.
and of course did his public his PR move and stuff like that. And people even reached out to him, like a football player, Edelman. He reached out to him, was like, "Hey man, like I'll be here to help you out, like get through this and stuff like that." He just want to make sure like he's good and taken care of and understands like, yeah, you can't say stuff like this.
Yeah.
No matter how you mean it, even if you're not trying to be offensive or not.
Yeah. Like
So like,
I'm very careful not to say, anti-gay or like slurs of that kind anymore. I used to it used to be second nature for some reason, and I don't know.
you coming out there like, man, that's gay, or like
Yeah,
just
you know,
random stuff like
yeah.
that. Like, oh, you're a
Now
faggot.
I
Like,
just use the word shit and
gotta be
fuck, and
careful.
that's bullshit. I don't try to like. I'm not trying to offend people because it just gives the indication that when you're angry and your first thing to do is to curse something, and when you bring something into the curse, you're then putting that on the same equivalency of that anger that you have
Right,
towards something.
right. Yeah, I
But
definitely agree. Which,
so, but I
which leads to this next topic here, though, is
cancel culture.
cancel culture here, which is stuff also getting banned or canceled, and however you want to take it. But
Okay. So
first thing here was
did you
Twitter.
both actually read into this whole cancel culture thing that we're gonna go for here, like the whole Disney Plus thing? Did you actually read what the article said? Because headlines are misleading. Don't get me wrong. If you read the headline that we shared with each other, that was super misleading. Read the article, there's a whole lot more we're talking about here. But it's definitely spun in such a way that this whole Republican, right-winged media right now it's cancel culture, it's cancel culture. You're removing our voice. No, we're not removing your voice. We're just saying this shit's not right. And so,
Right. But like, it's interesting
yeah.
now that like some of the stuff that's trying to be canceled, it's been out for like 100 years, and it's been preached to like kids, like it's all kid stuff, and you're just like, oh guys, this isn't right. This is like, but why is it now? Like, why are we focusing on this when there are real problems in the world? Like when you sent me that video and like the Democrats are trying to take care of real business, and you got Republicans over here trying to read fucking green eggs and ham.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
why
The
are we
green eggs
even
and
worried
ham
about doing
video,
stuff
like
like that?
that shit, or the filibuster where a guy's like, "Have you ever seen how much $1 million in ones would stack? If we stacked the money, it would go into the atmosphere." And that's a whole different topic about talking about filibusters. But like the issue here is people, Disney, it's not cancel culture if you do it yourself. If Disney says, "Hey, we don't like this message that one of this movie has because of when it was written. Because let's be honest here. If Disney still lived today, Walt Disney was alive, there'd be a lot more shit to say because he was anti-Semitic as shit, dude. We've talked about it before. Dude was in bed with Nazis, literal German Nazis. He didn't like Jews. He hated them. And guess what? That showed in some of his shit. He had a lot to say in Disney cartoons, that came after him, like the first color animations and stuff. So, with the thing is, Disney has just taken Peter Pan, Dumbo, and the Aristocats off of suggested content for children.
Yeah, so it's still there, but it's
exactly
like, it's harder to find or whatever. Like, you have to really search for it to be able to find it. And if you don't know it's there, you probably ain't gonna find it.
Yeah, like
the thing is, like, it was crazy, like, because talking about the Dr. Seuss thing, right? I've watched experiments, like, the moms or dads are taking these books that are being canceled and give them to the kids and, like, point out what the problem is that they think it is, and they go, "What's wrong with this page?" And the kids have no idea what's going on. So it's like racism isn't there. Like, you're not born with being racist or understanding any of that. You're taught that kind of stuff as life goes on. So it's just like, it shouldn't be a problem. And now people are trying to incentivize it. I literally just went to Target the other day to visit my girlfriend at work, and at the front counter by the checkout counter, guess what? They have a whole fucking section of Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Why?
Because that's the big issue here. Like, I think we're dealing with the fact that they're removing these things, and like, the children don't understand the racism, but how many times have you mimicked something you saw? How many times have you taken your hands and pulled your eyes so that they were thin and slanted like somebody from the East? That's what I'm saying. Like, these kids mimic this shit, and it eventually it is the seed of racism that we're looking at here. It's not that the kids are growing to hate these people. Yeah,
the eye thing.
Yeah, where I don't want to do it. I want to get myself in trouble here.
The meme about Asians would be like, "Oh, I'm American" or something like that. I was dying.
Yeah. So the issue is we're pulling this content until the kids can understand what is going on here. Like the fact that in Aristocrats there's a Siamese cat that's playing the piano with chopsticks, got slanted eyes, and buck teeth. Those are racist traits. When you describe a Chinese person in that era, they were like, oh, they have buck teeth and they, everything's with chopsticks and slanted eyes. Those are traits that are racist to, yes, that's what people contend, like slanted eyes, yes, their eyes are different shaped. But like the issue is making fun of it. Kids joke about things, and that's what breeds that racism to eventually become, a bigotry towards people. So it's not really cancel culture. It's just sort of helping to mold our children because it brings in the argument of nature versus nurture. Is a kid born racist or taught to be racist?
Right. Yeah, the other thing here in the cancel culture, I actually didn't really look into it too much. I just seen it pop up on the headlines, was Pepe Le Pew. I think that's how you say it. The skunk from basically Looney Tunes. He's not going to all his scenes that were removed from like Space Jam 2 and like basically removing him as a character completely. Like, I don't know the reasoning behind it, but it's just like, why are they picking and choosing like random characters and they're just like, all right, yeah, cool. It sounds offensive, or they did something, or like, all right, cool, that's it.
He's offensive. It's an offensive stereotype towards French people for one. It's
kind of too.
How? What'd you say?
Wasn't he like very flaunty with like women?
Very rapey vibes. He stunk. He was
yeah. Okay, but if you're saying all of that, then what about the fucking old dude from like Family Guy or whatever show it is, and he's just always super rapist. Yeah. Whatever. Like, he always gives off them like.
But that's the thing.
Vibes. But like, it's okay.
Wait. Is Family Guy a children's cartoon?
No.
Is Space Jam a children's cartoon?
Maybe.
You see, now we've come to the crux of the argument.
But you can't have double standards. Like, no matter if it's an adult versus kid, like
you can.
You're singling something out for being wrong.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. It has to be wrong both times.
We can have double standards. Your parents told you go to bed. We're gonna watch. I don't show I wouldn't show my niece porn, but hey, We've all watched porn, okay? Let's be honest here. Porn is not acceptable for children because they don't understand the underlying issues we're dealing with here. We can joke about stereotypes and racism and stuff. But if you're actively building this into a child, it grows into a bigotry or a hatred towards a person or a group.
Right, yeah, because that stuff is taught, yes, and then kids are a sponge.
Get the fuck out of here, Spooky Creek Line, son of a bitch. Like, that's what I'm saying. You know, everyone's dabbled in that, and there are reasons things are for adults and not for children. You know,
Right.
children
But
are
you think
developing.
about it, like, you could probably go through everything
Mhm.
that's made for kids and find so much adult humor in it that goes
And
way over the
that's
kid's
fine.
head.
That's fine. But the issue is kids imitating things. Kids learning and imitating and trying to reproduce what happens. How many times have you
Right.
heard a kid sing, Let It Go in the supermarket running around or in the toy store, or in a section of Walmart? What I'm getting at here is kids will redo what they see on TV, and it doesn't mean that they're being racist. It will just eventually, it can lead to their development towards something if it's not corrected.
Mhm.
And it's the thing. Do you stop your kids and say, "Hey, you can't make fun of Chinese people for the way their cities are named. That's
I mean,
just
if you're being a proper good parent, yeah, you should be doing
you
that kind of
should
stuff.
be." But that's the thing. We live in America here. Most parents they
We
they have
don't, they don't give a fuck.
yeah, they don't give a fuck. There are a lot of unwanted pregnancies every year because people can't keep it in their pants and there's just not enough sex education. We have a culture of just we're breeding new generations that people don't care about. These
Right.
generations care more about themselves than what they leave their children. I'll be honest with you, my father cares more about what he got than what he could bestow the next generation, the world. Like they'll rape and pillage the world. They don't care what they leave us. That's apparent with the auto industry or things of that nature. Money speaks louder. So what
Right.
the issue is, people don't want to take care of the next generation. Look at all these, wealthy people who just ignore their kids, like Trump, for example. He just throws money at the problem, and the kid's supposed to grow up without their father figure.
Right. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So, like, the issue is it's not we're canceling things. We're just trying to remove these offensive stereotypes.
Right.
Because I can tell you right now, just thinking back, I've imitated Asian people, and it's just racist. It's what it is. Like making fun of
Right.
people for their slanted eyes. That's just racist. There. There's no two ways about it. It's like making fun of somebody for their skin color.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all around bad, no matter what.
So
But we can move on to our last two topics here before we move on to our last segment of the night. We can try and get through this. It's running kind of long today.
yeah,
But minimum wage obviously is an issue in this country and maybe the world as well. But it's something it's on the ballot that wants to be changed, and it definitely needs to be changed. The cost of living is obviously too high, but there's a way of going about this. You can't go from $7.25 to $15 an hour.
I
Um,
I agree and disagree. Um, the issue is at hand. For the most part, you can.
Physically, yeah, you could, but as
No,
soon
no,
as
no,
you do
no.
that,
Businesses
all
can handle.
businesses will probably. There's going to be a lot of
A
businesses that just
lot of
close up.
small businesses will have issues.
You will lose a lot of your mom and pop shops.
I
Stuff will become really, really more monopolized.
I
Inflation would skyrocket through the roof.
I don't think so, because if inflation skyrocketed, you know, I don't think people are going to raise prices of products and stuff that fast. Yeah, $15 is a
I
compromise, exactly, Spooky Crew.
no, I think it should be a $15 an hour, but I like the plan that they have intact, where it's going to take like 3 to 4 years or whatever the time frame is.
It's bullshit. It's not going to happen. Let's be honest here. In 2 years, they're going to rewrite it and change it or remove it. That's what we're dealing with here. Our politicians, they'll lay out a plan and then they'll not execute a plan.
Yeah, with Spooky Crew, he said $22 an hour in Norway, but like the cost of living in Norway might be way different. Like the cost of everything might be way different than what we're used to. So like comparing it to another country is hard to say like anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's even hard in the States. Like making $15 an hour in say Harrisburg might be reasonable, but if you try to make $15 an hour in Miami, you're $15 an hour is like making fucking $3 an hour. Because
I
the
get what you're
cost
going
of
for,
everything is
but
just drastically different.
that's the thing. $15 an hour is still more than any minimum wage in this country.
I think the minimum wage should be adjusted and addressed state by state basis,
I wouldn't agree. I think
but have a
$15
national mandate of at least
fifteen
like a legit minimum.
15 would cover the cost of living in almost any location. You will have
Except
to
for bigger
compromise. I'm dead serious. $15 an hour will cover the cost of living anywhere. You need to learn how to buckle yourself in and actually survive on that. But the problem
Yeah.
is 725, and it's not the issue of, we're trying to make it. If we don't make it $15 an hour, businesses aren't going to do it. Do you know how many, so many jobs will pay minimum wage just because they can? That's it. And they'll walk away with the idea is we're not going to get better, as Spooky Crew said. States are just they're not going to adapt. They're
But
not going
I'm
to want
not
to change.
saying that where like some states go to 15 and some go to 725. I think it should be raised regardless, and say have like a national mandate where it has to be at least 12. But like some states go higher because of the cost of living in each state is different.
$15 an hour base across the United States. Perfectly fine. Then after that, room for growth is another issue. In America, there is no real room for growth half the time.
Mhm.
Uh, the issue is we deal with a culture where we can't get certain jobs. We're bred to think that, like, for example, I was talking with somebody and we were talking about how, our college system, we talk about how there's these great jobs, like, you could be a graphic designer one day, or you could do this, or you could do that. And then they make
Such
you
a
get all this education, then they don't pay you anything. So like, well, I'm not going to hire a graphic artist who hasn't gone and got a graphic arts degree.
Right.
I'm not even going to look at your resume, and then I'll look at your actual talent after I see that. But then you have to pay to get those things, and then they won't even pay you the money. They'll pay you $8 an hour or $10 an hour. We're trying to
Right.
get it so that $15 an hour will cover the cost of living if you lived within your means. And that's the issue.
Right.
Americans don't live within their means in the first place. But if you live
Yeah.
within your means, $15 an hour will cover, a single room apartment in almost any location. Like, we're not talking like you're getting a Manhattan skyline. That's luxury.
Yeah, but you think I'm just trying to give
Yeah.
you some feedback here is like if you raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, you don't think the rent because $15 an hour would cover the cost of the rental place now
Mhm.
for one bedroom place. But like, what if it goes up to $15 an hour and they're like, people make more money. Let me make this go up so the $800 apartment now is $1,500 a month.
You limit stuff like that. You put mandates. People have contracts.
Okay.
That's how things work.
Then yes, that would be fine.
Yeah.
If there's a way to control the market of everything, because like
Yeah.
that's going to happen. Because gallon of milk is what, like $5 to $8 or whatever it is right now. If the minimum wage goes up to $15 an hour, you're looking at $10 at least a gallon of milk. At least, if not
I-
more.
I
Like
don't
the small
agree.
things will go up too.
I don't agree. I don't agree whatsoever, because if the small things go up, then people aren't going to buy those. People
They're
are
still going to struggle the way that they are now. Like it's going to be in the same situation. I feel like you're just
then
there's-
then
I don't
then
know if
I
the
would
correct
turn the
way of
argument
going about
against you. How do you solve the issue?
I really don't know. I think
That's the
maybe
thing.
slowly increasing it would be my ideal way of doing it, just so things can slowly adapt alongside, as opposed to just jumping the gun, everybody goes out,
Yeah.
and you'd be
Well-
stuck in the same situation you're in already.
Well, let me ask you, when the last time a minimum wage actually got increased?
What, 07, 08? It's been a long time.
No, way more than that. It's been longer than that to not my knowledge. And yeah,
I'm-
raising prices in response to minimum wage exactly would only hurt the businesses as well. Because the thing is, if you raise it to $15 an hour, sales will increase. That's the thing.
The last time was 2009. It went from 655 to
Okay.
725.
There you go. So the
12
issue,
years ago.
yeah, and the issue is, even if we're not increasing the minimum wage here, the cost of living, it's just going. It's gonna
Yeah.
continue to go.
one of the things that I liked what Bernie Sanders I had to say was that he would like to index the minimum wage to the cost of living. So as cost of living goes up, minimum wage goes up,
Hmm.
and vice versa. Like
Yeah.
it was something that would constantly fluctuate
Mhm.
at all times. So I think that would be
Well, and
ideal.
that's the follow-up
But I
then.
agree.
If we do
If there's a
something
way
like
for
that,
you,
it's
if
going to
there's a
bring it to
way
15.
if there's a way to control the market and like prevent like apartment and cost of living to like skyrocket just because the minimum wage goes up, then yeah, go ahead, go for it. That would be the best solution. But is there a legal like a legal way of doing that? I don't know,
Yeah. And
because we're supposed to be like that free market, do whatever you want, you make your own decision on pricing and stuff.
mhm. But the problem
Because
is,
then by doing that, you allow the government to control the market even more than what they already do.
yeah, well, the government doesn't control the market that much. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
The government's
but by
barely
doing what
involved.
you're talking about would.
Yeah. So, the issue is $15 an hour minimum wage. I think is going to be very beneficial because if people make more money, they're going to spend more money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're going to loosen their belts and they're going to spend more. The money is always going back into the economy. The issue is businesses want to make a bigger ROI. They only care about the ROI, not
Right, right.
the
Because we talked about it on previous episodes. You go from 5% to 4%. You're like, oh man, not making enough money or whatever. And I get it. Bigger businesses are going to be okay, but you think about it. If you
Yeah.
raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, right? Every other job has to get a pay raise as well.
No, no,
So someone who's
no, no.
already making
Nobody needs a pay
$18
raise.
an hour have to go up.
No, that's the
Why
thing.
not?
You
'Cause
don't have to.
it wouldn't be fair to them
No, it's not
if
going to be
someone else
fair
just
to
got
them.
a
But they've
$7
already
pay
been
raise.
making $18 an hour. The business has already been providing for that job. The job, you don't
Yeah, but the
have
way I
to.
look at it is, if
It
minimum wage goes up and the other person who's already making more than that doesn't go up, the cost of living and everything else goes up, and now they're struggling.
no, like, and that's. I get what you're going for here, but the cost of living is already going up, so they already should be getting raises, and their money should be
Right. But a
equal to
lot of
that.
jobs are not giving those raises either.
That's the thing. So that's the issue here. The issue is not the minimum wage; it's businesses. You're trying
Yeah,
to tell
they're
me
too greedy. They want
that
the maximum amount of
that's the
profits
problem.
or
So
revenue or whatever.
the
However
top
you
the
want to-
top doesn't do much, and they reap all the rewards. That's where we're dealing with issues right now. There is no real there is no real punishment for these people at top anyway. They just go, oh shit, we crashed the Texas electric system. I'm just going to leave the board and get a job somewhere else on another
Right.
board and make just as much money with
Because
zero
it's all about making
repercussions.
more money, and then the people who don't make enough money are struggling to survive. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So the issue is
Right.
we have to move the minimum wage. Whether or
yeah,
not
I agree.
it's
Something needs to happen. 725, not
Yeah.
a good idea, but
And-
there has to be like obviously like a long drawn out plan and organized that's going to affect the entire market, a way to
Oh, yeah.
control and maybe and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of stuff that has to happen for it to work. You can't just go, all right, cool, minimum wage 15 and that's it. That can't be the only
Oh,
thing
no,
that
no.
happen.
Well, no, and that's the thing. These bills should address that. They should address the strategy in which these things happen.
But
Businesses
see what
have
they try
X
to
amount
do.
of
They
days
try
to
to
figure
throw
it
in the
out.
minimum wage into the stimulus bill.
Mhm.
You can't even do that legally.
Well, no,
by
they
legislation
they
they're not
can.
allowed to.
They can. The issue is people keep dropping this argument. The argument is the person who gets to dictate whether or not it's legal is somebody who is just not even elected. They're just somebody who's appointed. And they just get to
Right.
decide. They're the Constitution person who gets to decide whether or not this clause gets to be used. And they were like, no, I just feel like the $15 minimum wage isn't constitutional. That's what
Right.
happened there. They just decided it wasn't.
Right. So we can move on here to stimulus plan because we're definitely running a little long
Yeah.
here. Just a quick update. Thank goodness it was passed. It was signed off by Biden. We're all supposed to be getting check. I can't say all, but 90% of Americans are going to get a check
Yeah.
of some sorts starting this weekend and into next week. So that's good news, and all the unemployment benefits and all those other assisting programs and stuff like that. So that's awesome to see. Obviously, that's a 600 and 80-page thing bill that was signed. So who knows what's in there that we have no idea might have been signed into office or
Yeah.
into legality. So that'll be interesting. But it is good to see that everybody's about to get some kind of assistance. It's definitely needed for those who are struggling. Honestly, it might help me out in the time that I'm dealing with too right now. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad they were finally able to get it through. Thankfully, everything's basically run by the Democrats right now because not a single
Yeah, and not
Republican voted.
yeah,
Yes.
but and the follow up is Democrats are bailing ship too, which is the crazy part. They're just like, yeah, no, I don't like this. It's
Well,
like
there was only one person who voted no.
The West Virginia Democrat or whatever who was like, what's
It
this?
was Maine. I think there was only one Democrat that voted against it.
Well, vote. There are people who are bargaining it down. Like we have control, and they're like, oh, nah, let's just bring it down. And I'm like, we
Yeah.
win the fight, and then we just give up the power.
All right.
So.
But what's your thoughts on all this, Saturn? We haven't heard your voice in a little bit here. We was on a ramble.
Well, I still at home, so I don't really balance my budget or anything. I kind of just save. That's my goal at the moment.
Sounds like it's better than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But I don't think it sounds like there's not an easy solution, and I think if you do raise prices, it's like everything else is if you're raising like the amount of money you're getting, like everything else has to stay where it is, or else it wouldn't work. It couldn't it's just so weird how it would kind of fluctuate.
Yeah, and we have to also remember we're a global economy, so like people can't just raise the prices because then other people will just be like, I'm not gonna buy stuff from America. Let's go grab that cheap Chinese corn now instead. I'm not gonna go buy American corn now.
It'd be devalued, or and the trade currency would be like all messed up.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting to see how this all plays out over
the first year of the
coming
Biden
years.
presidency is going to be a very interesting year.
Yeah, I agree. But anything else on that last on the world news before we move on to our last segment here?
No, I think I'm good. We have other topics we can talk about other days.
Just one comment.
Yeah.
What was it? 17,000 earthquakes in a week compared to 1,000 in a year, I think.
Yeah.
That is actually seismic activity.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, they're not always like 5 on the Richter scale. They can be like half or 0.5. Like they could just be like, oh, okay, just a little shake.
Or something you don't even feel.
Exactly.
If it's still there.
Yeah, they're tracking things that are so deep that you wouldn't feel it, but it's still a tremble.
Yeah, that frequency there's numbers.
Yeah.
But now,
when I first saw that, I was like 17,000. Like we make a big deal about like 1 or 2. These people are dealing with 17,000. Like imagine just constantly feeling like a random shaker. Just like
you're just like, all right, guess I'm just gonna sit here and jiggle this whole time. Yeah. Like I still remember the first and only earthquake I ever felt, and we were chilling at my place, and it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, you thought I was like shaking your chair. You're like, why are you shaking my chair? And I'm like, I'm not shaking your chair.
Why are you shaking my chair?
It was like I thought you were shaking mine. You're like, no. And then we looked it up, and yeah, there was like an earthquake in like Virginia or something.
Yeah.
That we could feel.
No,
well, yeah, I'm glad we don't live
crazy.
out in California or Iceland. But yeah, man, let's move on to a new segment that we want to try and start every week now. We want to talk about mental health a little bit more. Have either of you guys been dealing with any mental health issues recently?
Stress, man. The stress is insane, dude. Like I feel like I'm more stressed working at home than I am working at my office place.
Right.
It's just I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, how have you been dealing with it? Like overcoming it at all?
Venting, a lot of venting to my wife. I
that's good.
I don't know how people do it when they're alone.
Well, that's why like some people I've found like ways for me to vent or not vent but overcome it was like obviously playing a game or that's what really got me into like writing blogs and just writing in general. Like I still have ideas to create a book and a 2 different types of books I still have in mind to create, but it's just like one thing can lead to another, and then honestly me writing is what got me really into doing a podcast as well. Like I really like talking about topics and whatnot. But what about you, Saturn? Have you been dealing with anything at all?
Yeah. So I guess I've just been trying to bear with me.
You're good.
You know, I think if when I'm feeling kind of weird, you know, or down, you know, I'll try to be creative. Being creative is like one of the best things you can do. It makes you feel a lot better. You know, just doing things that are like, just do something out of the box. You know, kind of like say you don't like wearing this shirt or something. You know, just throw the shirt on and see how you feel. You know, that's you
Right.
know, just try to make things different and like a monotonous. You know, can't do anything kind of
Mhm.
atmosphere.
Finding the initiative to do things can be very difficult at times. Like, I can find that my wife doesn't always want to get out of pajamas. She'll go from one set of pajamas to the next, and it's like, I find that just even changing out of what I'm wearing, what I go to bed in, and just changing when I get halfway through the day. That's exactly right, Spooky Crew. When you feel you're looking fine, you're feeling fine. When I feel like I look like a piece of shit, I feel like a piece of shit. I'm like, oh, great. Sweatpants, sweatshirt on. I'm like, okay, yep, I feel like a total bum.
I like what Tubi said. You're like, when in doubt, just
Incognito the
cover
hub.
incognito to hub.
Yeah.
You're good. But
Nope.
personally, I've been dealing with my anxiety again. I've developed anxiety over the last few years and
Hmm.
been dealing with some smaller anxiety attacks. Nothing too crazy, but ways that I've been able to handle is venting, of course. But another thing I like to do is I listen to music, and I tend to listen to this. I don't know if it sounds weird or not, but I tend to listen to like John Mayer or his music has always been like super comforting and just quiet. Like I don't know how to even explain it. It's also music that I used to listen to back in college days.
Hmm.
I could literally listen to his music in the background while reading a book during a time where I hated reading books.
Hmm.
Why? Don't know why. But now it's just something that really just calms me down and just keeps me like focused. And anytime I go through it, I throw a playlist on with him, and after like a couple songs, I'm usually good to go. It just if I can't talk to people, of course, obviously. But I definitely noticed like when I used to deal with my big anxiety attacks,
Yeah.
um, I would literally start to talk to people and I would like pass out, like sleeping, like not pass out like unconscious, but like I would literally just like get real tired. I'm like, I need to take a nap or something.
Sorry to laugh here, but just the chat.
Which two do you think the best relationship goes?
Well, I think it'd be
Let's talk
weird
about it.
because me and Chillin here are cousins, so first cousins too, not second cousins. We're not pulling any Giuliani shit here. It's
Right.
first
That's
cousins here.
great.
But
Oh man. That's a
uh,
good one. And then I like what Spooky Crew did. He did like the fuck Kill
yeah, I
Mary.
am. I'm probably the most annoying here. I would agree. But I'm
No.
kind of upset here because I feel like I'm the most financially stable, and marrying me would probably be your best option when you're working minimum wage there.
Yeah, maybe money's not everything, huh?
No, money isn't everything, it turns out.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's great. Thanks, chat. I really needed that today. Oh man, you still have a rotary
Yeah,
phone.
dude, I
Oh
bought
man,
this.
he's coming
This
out the
house
rotary
was built.
phone.
So this house was built in the 50s. I bought it 2 years ago, and the rotary phone was on the wall, and I just left it there.
It's a
I
great
don't even have a
decoration.
landline. It's just
Right.
left
It's
it
a great
there.
decoration.
Yeah, it's literally a talking piece. Like, I could pull it off the wall, but like the whole basement's pretty dated, so I just like left it there. And people come
Yeah, just
down and
a
they're
little
like,
vibe.
"We're playing darts here," and they're like, "Cool rotary phone." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's just like a talking piece at this point."
It's like your centerpiece.
And one of these days, I hope while we're partying here, somebody gets drunk enough that they try to use the rotary phone, and I just watch them for a while. Try to build
Yeah,
my own
like
entertainment into the party. Just sitting there.
no, that would be great. But has it like any of the world events affected you guys with your mental health at all? Like recently at all?
Yeah, I really got stressed at the whole election thing because for me it was things are already bad. What will he do now that he doesn't have to worry about re-election?
Right.
What will the Republicans do now that they don't have to worry about re-electing Trump? what kind of mosh pit are we looking at for the next candidate kind of thing. It spooked me, and I'm still spooked because he's doing the right thing in not creating his own party strategically. That's the smart thing because he'd schism the Republicans. But now he's,
Right.
he's sticking with the Republicans, and they're looking to have, a Trump dynasty. His son's trying to take over the RNC. I'm worried for the future of politics where it's okay to blatantly lie on TV or say whatever you want and not hold yourself accountable. If you're
Right.
not able to,
Where these
yeah,
guys on Twitch streams
like,
get banned
like,
from everything.
like the fact that like Nixon, a scumbag like Nixon, still took responsibility for the shit he did, and he resigned from the office. Trump, he goes down fighting and treats his wins like a fucking MMA score. He's like 2-0, 2-0. It's like no.
Nah, yeah, completely understand.
No,
What
it's
about you,
just-
Saturn? Anything that's been bothering you in the world? What kind of affect your mental health, at least?
Just just getting used to like not doing normal stuff because of COVID.
Right. No, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I feel like COVID has a huge impact on a lot of people. I mean, there was an increase of like domestic violence. There was an increase of suicides because of it. So yeah, I definitely
Well,
understand.
and our generation, for example, all these other generations, they get to go out, drink, and, be with people, and they don't have in the back of their mind, even if they don't believe it exists, that just the idea in the back of your mind, COVID's out there, and it could kill you, and it could permanently damage your body. People aren't able to go outside, be with their friends. The thought of just seeing my grandmother scares me because she doesn't have the COVID shot, and what if one of us has it and we give it to her?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been interesting. But and any other like thoughts, advice, recommendations on the mental health topic this week?
I think the big thing to do, I think, is everyone needs to find something other than what they normally do to kind of keep their mind off of them, turning in on themselves. Because, like,
Right.
I've had 2 panic attacks already during this. They weren't, like, major things, but I sat there, like, hyperventilating, like, scared out of my mind. Just, like, I couldn't grip with what was going on around me. It's just like trying to have fun but also deal with the reality of life itself. It's like we're moving to an age where is your opinion your own? All this technology around you. Peer pressure is like people like joke about cyberbullying not being real bullying, but like somebody's right there. You can't just go home and hide. Like if you want
Right.
to at least be able to do the same thing, like you have to literally gimp yourself to be able to do anything. Like, oh, I won't get on the computer and stuff because there are people out there actively harassing me and turning other people against me. The world's kind of fucked up in our generation, and a lot of people right now who like would want to be looking for a significant other or things like that. It's hard to because you can't go out, you can't meet with people, you can't really go on a date. You have to go visit each other at your own home, at each other's homes almost. And it's like,
Right.
how do you know this person isn't just gonna rape you or kill you? you know?
Right.
How,
Right.
how do you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
I
makes
feel bad for the people who actively have to date in our age group.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. What about you, Saturn? Any last things?
Well, nothing too crazy. Just I think if you've never played the game Kind Words, I think you need to try it out. It's good for your mental health,
There you
at least it's been for me. Have you guys ever heard of it?
No, never.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. You just like write letters, pretty much anything personal, or it just prompts you to write a good quote, and pretty much you just send it off just like mail, and it floats. And when somebody turns on their game, they'll see that message and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, have a good morning." Like they're like, "Oh, what?" I'm like one of those people that need that constant like motivational quote, that I'll go back to. And Kind Words is kind of like that, but like a lot more personal. And I'd highly recommend it if you have it's not like the go-to, but
And that
it's
feels like one of those, like, it helps to stimulate one of those love languages that people have, the words of affirmation. You know,
Right.
somebody appreciates you, somebody's out there trying to make your day better by just saying something nice to you. You know, how often, we work in a service industry, we deal with customers, not customers, but clients in our enterprise, and just a smile, just a reaching out and talking to somebody is, you can make somebody's day, you know.
Exactly.
And there are so many people that are just hostile and just cold in this world that it's just, it makes you feel detached, and humans are social creatures by nature.
Exactly.
Without other people, you
Uh,
go insane.
yeah, you're right. And yeah, just one last thing for me. I just want to say, like, if anybody's struggling with mental health or anything, feel free to reach out to definitely me and Roger, and I'm sure Soteran will definitely help you out. Even if we don't know or can't help you out, we'll definitely point you in the right direction as well. So it's definitely a very serious thing that I know I take very seriously. And it definitely, these guys, sounds like it's very
Yeah.
very impactful. Everybody goes through it. It's okay. Like, some people have that pride thing too, where they don't want to admit to doing it. They don't deal with it, or whatever it is. Like, it's okay. Like, we have to, especially on a guy thing. That's definitely a movement that I've noticed, is make it okay for guys to cry, or make it okay that guys that have feelings or have
Yeah.
mental health issues. Like, guys can be tough. Yeah, guys are meant to naturally be tough, but we also have an emotional side. Like, we still have our soft
Well,
side too.
that's
Like, we
that's the
can't be
thing.
tough all the
We're
time.
not hunter gatherers anymore. We are an advanced society that has evolved past what, you know, we were originally bred to do by, nature.
Right, exactly.
So,
But yeah, like I said, reach out. We'll definitely help you out. I've been dealing with this for probably at least 3 or 4 years minimum, if not more. Might have been longer. I just never knew it. But definitely been getting very more knowledgeable and of how to go through this and whatnot. And I know a lot of other people that's been through it and how they handle it. So I definitely have a lot of resources to help people out with. So reach out to me as well. But I think it's now it's time to close out this week's episode. Any last remarks on anything that we covered on today?
no, not anything really. If anyone has any questions for us or wants to join us, let us know. We'd always
Yeah,
love to talk to
exactly.
more people.
Exactly. Definitely want to thank all the live viewers today, and any future viewers that we get on YouTube. We definitely want to thank Soteran as well for coming on today. It was great to have you back. Definitely want to have to give you on future episodes as well. You always bring great conversations, some humor as well.
Cares to
So
research
it's
the
always
subjects at hand. Cares to look at
yeah,
the content we want to talk about.
right. Yeah, exactly. But again, definitely check us out every Thursday at 7 p.m. at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion for our live views. If not, check it out on YouTube. But so Taryn, where can we find you at, like, social media wise, streaming platforms, anything?
Oh, you can find me at twitch.tv/Ashiat. I'm friends with Lunatic, so
You can find his link at the bottom of the stream.
Yep. And then what about you, Roger?
You can find me at the stream or twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion if you're watching this a recording.
Cool. And then me, I definitely want to ask everybody to continue to check out the talk show with Vic. It's another content that I produce on the Chill Zone. It's where I go, like, one-on-one with people and stuff like that. And those episodes are live every Friday at 7 p.m. I do got a good episode coming up tomorrow with my boy Tony McGraw. We're going to talk about his football journey, his DJing career, and then his newly found music career, about producing and actually creating music as well. So it's pretty cool. So check that out. It's on twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin', or check it out on our YouTube channel, where you can find these videos at as well. But you can find me at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _, Xbox at X Never Space Chillin. If you want to party up, talk, or even play some games, hit me up. Facebook is Vic Brubacher. If you have any questions, concerns, want to come on the show, hit me up. Also, that's the same thing with, like, mental health issues. If you have any questions or concerns, hit me up. Otherwise, again, Twitch is twitch.tv /Mr. Never Chillin'. But just want to say thanks again to everybody, and until next time, peace.
Peace, guys.